Best ball breakfast on a Wednesday. We are going to draft 4 teams today. I'm going to do a BBM draft solo. Then we're going to be joined by Meg Shoup from the Fanspeak Network. Then we're going to have my guy, Goofy Chicken, awesome streamer. You know him from So You Think You Can Tout. And then we're concluding with my DFS guy, JMToWin. We'll, of course, have our in-season DFS show on Fridays. But today, we're going to pick his brain in a Best Ball Mania draft. I'm Pete. Let's get to it.
Welcome to hot Best Ball summer. You slurp that suspension dipperino, honey?
Easy to click on Rashad White when it's all site credits.
Exodia.
Put the puppy in the bag, bro. I'm trying to grow the goddamn game.
The game is beatable, folks.
Slap King Summer, bitches.
7,000 hours of commercial-free Best Ball drafts starts now.
All right, how are we doing? I need to figure out what number draft this is for me here. Let me quickly check on this and we'll get this rolling. We got the 1-9 today. I do need to do some math on my fill rate here for Best Ball Mania. Make sure I'm on pace here. I believe this is Best Ball Mania draft 127. I did 126 with Karain on Monday, and I have not drafted a Best Ball Mania since. Yesterday on and off the clock, off and on the clock, we focused on the first quarter contest. If you guys haven't checked that out, $100,000 up top, and the contest is just the first 4 weeks of the season. So pretty fun there to think through some of the dynamics of optimizing for week 4, which is essentially, the week 17 of that contest. And I just love the idea of getting a little stimmy in the account by week 4. GMs, we got Bob ready for Best Ball Breakfast. What up? What up? How are we doing? JM on the thumbnail must mean we're getting close. That's right. GMs. Eggers, let's just have a good stream today, Eggers. Let's keep it, cordial, right? We don't have to get adversarial, right off the rip here. What do we got cooking out 1-9 here? 1-9, we got CeeDee Lamb, James Cook, Justin Jefferson. I'm at 9.3% CeeDee, 8.3% James Cook, 6.7% Jefferson. We'll play CeeDee here if I can get it in time. I have been liking a lot of the running back values later right now, so I don't mind starting the draft with a couple of wide receivers, although we might be able to catch the end of a running back tier here at 2-4. Let me get the board popped out for us. We can be on Ashton Genty watch again. Don't really have any new clarity. They say it's the lowest high ankle sprain ever, whatever the fuck that means. They sure are dragging out the timeline for us. That is for sure. Kenneth Walker, a little banged up right now. He still goes at the 1-2 turn. Chase Brown has really been rising lately. AJ Brown goes, so we're on the clock here. Let's check out our combos with CeeDee. 16.7% Derrick Henry, 11.1% Omarion Hampton. We have a little Achane there. Let's see. What do we want to do? I'm going to go Derrick Henry there. Derrick Henry, who last night on ADP Chasing, the crew got in the 3rd round of the FFPC draft. Of course, it is full point PPR over there, but mid-3rd round, Derrick Henry. They started Puka, took Neighbors, coming back in the 2nd, and then Derrick Henry fell all the way back around to them. Highly recommend checking out that stream. I saw the first half of it last night, finished it this morning. Very fun draft, very good team. Normally the ADP chasing teams are a bit chaotic. There was a lot of slapping it up last year, but this year the boys were dialed. They were absolutely dialed. Do we do Wednesday coffee pours? Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, I appreciate the nudge to do so. We do have my Vassaleros and Sons coffee mug here and my Vassaleros and Sons coffee. We will be doing 2 more giveaways throughout today's stream. 2 of you will win a 12-ounce free bag of Vassaleros and Sons coffee. You can pick your variety. But let's get a coffee pour here. And then you guys can head down below. Click that link, Vassaleros and Sons coffee. 25% off your first order plus free shipping with promo code Pete. Try it out. Tell me how you like it. Beautiful, beautiful pour there. We are dialed in. We are in peak late August form with the coffee pours. And we have started CeeDee Lamb and Derrick Henry here. Yeah, Josh mentioning Mike Shoup did a howl. One of the most epic value hound howls you'll ever hear when they locked up Derrick Henry yesterday. Make sure you check that out. I did get to the great Mahomes versus Goff meltdown. It was more just a debate about Patrick Mahomes. And he showed up to a gunfight with a knife because Pat's ready with his Drake May stats, his Drake May and Pat Mahomes stats. He was workshopping that on Monday's Best Ball Breakfast, and then he whipped it out there versus Jacob. All right, what do we want to do here? We have Love sliding. Love sliding. I mean, we're playing BBM. We playing to win here. We're playing to win BBM. Let's play some Jeremiyah Love in week 14. Man, I need to like stretch my board out. I'm not getting the drop down here. All right. There we go. All right, so we're going to grab Jeremiyah Love at 33. I think that's about the right price for him in BBM. Definitely think Breece Hall should go ahead of him. Trey McBride, Zay Flowers, that's fine. But this is about the spot I'm going to find the price on Jeremiyah Love. And we can build teams that can bide our time for 4 to 5 weeks. But let's swing for the fences, right? You're supposed to build a shipper. Isn't that what the kids say now? You got to build a shipper, Pete. If you're playing BBM, you got to play to win, Pete. You got to build a shipper. Am I ready to shift to battle royales in a week? I'm getting there, man. I'm getting there. There's still a lot of best ball drafts to be had, but battle royale season is just around the corner. Colston Loveland goes here, early 4th round. I think what are we here? T. Higgins. I do like Tet. I've been trying to get a little bit more DeAndre Swift these days, but T. Higgins is the faller here. And I think this gives us just a really nice start. We start Derrick Henry and Jeremiyah Love and CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins. T. Higgins slides 5 spots. Jeremiyah Love slides 4 spots. I now feel like I got howl mogged by Shoup last night. I don't even know if I can muster a howl for this, but I will. Ow! See, my howls just feel so juvenile, so mogged by a competent broadcaster like Mike Shoup. Now that he's in the howl game, I'm screwed. You know what? I've now seen multiple of you reference this. I have not seen the source material. Copy paste late. Did you see Love's pizza carrying form? Bro was smiling and carrying them great. Do I need to go find this? Do I need to go find Jeremiyah Love carrying pizza? Okay, here it is. I did right when I logged on to Twitter. I see Hayden tweeting it out. Let's see this here for the people. All right, Jeremiyah Love doing his rookie duties, bringing pizza on the team plane to the joint practice. Ankle looking good. Yeah, I mean, what do we got there? What is that? 7 Zaz, a soda, and a water. And he's carrying a backpack, a side bag, walking up the stairs. He good. Jeremiyah Love is carrying pizzas up multiple flights of stairs and you're fading. Couldn't be me. Could not be me. He good. You hear it here first. Look at Team 5. CMC, Genty, Kyron, Bayshell, Tootin. What a start. What a start there. Oh no, is this where I find myself in Parker Washington territory at pick 57? Can someone take Christian Watson? Now that I'm on record of saying I cannot take Parker Washington over Christian Watson, if I need some Parker Washington shares, I'm going to also need some people to take Christian Watson ahead of me. Otherwise, I have to just keep clicking Parker Washington. There goes Christian Watson. So maybe I can get Parker Washington, although Bucky, I believe, is still on the board here. I don't think Bucky should be here still, right? I'm only at 7.3% Bucky. We have had some reports that Sean Tucker is on the roster bubble. I think that certainly strengthens the thesis for both Bucky and Kenny Gainwell. I'm going to grab Bucky here. No. I'm not fading Christian Watson. I like Christian Watson. I'm on record saying I can't take Parker Washington ahead of Christian Watson. That's the line that I have to draw. And I also have to draw the line that I'm not taking him ahead of Bucky Irving. Sorry, Jerry. It's not always P-Wash over Washington. In fact, it's never P-Wash over Washington. So we start CeeDee Lamb, Derrick Henry, Jeremiyah Love, T. Higgins, Bucky Irving. Trevion Henderson starting to fall a bit here. He does go. You can pull up Burrow. We can do Ramondre. Tyler Warren has honestly been who I've been trying to catch up on a little bit here. I only have 4.7% Tyler Warren. I was really light on him earlier in the draft season. And now it's basically the quarterbacks, Ramondre and Tyler Warren that I kind of consider here in round 6. I really don't love the wide receivers in round 6. So we'll grab our first tight end, Tyler Warren. I don't really have any concerns about his injury. He should be fine for week 1. And I have really come around to the idea of the offense funneling through Tyler Warren. I still like Josh Downs, but I think Tyler Warren is the best way to play the Colts offense right now. So we'll grab him here. I'm glad Jake approves of my running back room. That means a lot. Thank you, Jake. Ryan, we were just talking about the ADP chasing draft right before you walked in. Yeah, I enjoyed the Mahomes debate. I did. OG Man's fan, how much of your bankroll percentage are you devoting to DFS compared to BRs? Thinking about cutting back on DFS myself. Yeah, I mean, over the years, I've certainly shifted to the draft games way more so. One, because I think I have more of an edge in the draft games than I do in the salary cap streets. And I just really enjoy drafting. So yeah, it's all personal preference. I will still be playing salary cap. We'll still be building lineups on DraftKings. Love using the solver, run the sims, love talking to JMToWin. I still love the thought exercise and the putting the puzzle pieces together of weekly salary cap, but drafting is just so much more fun. How come I wasn't in the draft last night? That was the ADP chasing draft. Those fellas do their show every Tuesday night, and they don't need me crashing the party. They clearly did not need me last night. I mean, they drafted a beautiful shipper. Why is market sentiment so low on Mahomes? Is it just post Super Bowl hate Chiefs disdain Mahomes hate? I don't think it's Mahomes hate. I think it's people not loving the stacking opportunities with them as much. I mean, beyond Rashee Rice, I think a lot of the quarterbacks get pulled up because of the stacking attractiveness. So you do have that. I think people are concerned he's not going to run as much coming off of that injury. So I get that. All right, Jaden Reed goes. I was going to go Jaden Reed or Makai Lemon. I think with Makai Lemon back at practice, we were having to pay a premium on Makai Lemon as early as a few weeks ago. You had to take him at the 6-7 turn. I think he's now a really strong pick in this range. I don't need Tony Pollard on this team. I don't need Kraft. I don't need Sutton. Someone already took Dak, right? Dak went at pick 71, so I didn't even get a chance to stack CD and Dak. The 2-hole went George Pickens and then pulled up Javonte, so they were pretty interested in the Dak stack. I miss out on Burrow because I don't pull him up. He goes to the 1-hole with no Bengals. Jalen Hurts is gone in the middle, so I don't have any really clean stacks right now. Dimes with Warren later, Baker with Bucky. But we'll have to build out some potential back stacks here. Herbert goes. I'm back on the clock here. Man, Pollard falling, and I still don't really want to do it. Still don't really want to do it. We could get a Harvey share here. Man, what's the wide receivers? Were Diggs, Worthy, Golden? Man, I kind of am just getting funneled to the running backs here. Addison went. He would have been another guy to consider here. It's tough now in this range because like Godwin and Downs used to be like the auto clicks in this late 7th, early 8th range for me. Downs goes at 76. Godwin's on the rise, which he should be. He should have been on the rise regardless of Igbuka. Then you layer in the Igbuka toe stuff. And now Godwin's looking like a screaming value. So don't begrudge anyone from grabbing him there. But it does make it a little trickier. And it does make me want to do more 0 RB rooms. I had thought about pulling up Drake London with CeeDee Lamb when I took Henry. Drake London ends up falling to pick 24 in this draft. Genty goes ahead of him. Nico, Pickens, Neighbors all go ahead of London here. But we start with CeeDee Lamb, Derrick Henry, Jeremiyah Love, T. Higgins, Bucky Irving, Tyler Warren, Makai Lemon, RJ Harvey. Certainly feel good about solidifying the running back room to make sure the Jeremiyah Love team can get through. GM, woo. Copy paste laid. Likes Makai Lemon at 81. Mr. Bez says, Patrick Mahomes averaged like 20 points per game last year and 3 to 4 points was from rushing. If he isn't rushing anymore, he is bad with an average of 16 to 17. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Someone asked why people are worried about Mahomes. Here's the thing, though. Similar to Malik Neighbors, Chris Godwin, George Kittle, there has not been a single concerning report about Patrick Mahomes' health. The NFL scheduled him to play in primetime on Monday Night Football Week 1. All indications are he's ready to rock. So I think at some point we can't like be stubborn with this stuff. I don't think we can be overly precise enough to say he's fully healthy, but he's not going to rush as much as he did last year. At some point it is just like pure vibes-based speculation because on paper, Mahomes is set up to do what he did last year. And if not, have a little bit more pop with his pass catchers. You get Xavier Worthy healthy. Cyrus Allen is an exciting addition there. Yeah, I mean, and I haven't been the biggest Mahomes guy. Like I've been pushing back on Pat with naked Mahomes and all that stuff. So this is a good range here for wide receivers, or I could grab Bill as like my last running back here. I do think I want to keep some bullets in the chamber for other running back value. So I'm not going to take Bill. I think Bill's a good pick here. I'm going to go with Xavier Worthy, get another wide receiver. Speaking of Worthy. So we now have the 4 running backs, 4 wide receivers. Derrick Henry, Jeremiyah Love, Bucky Irving, RJ Harvey, CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins, Makai Lemon, Xavier Worthy, Tyler Warren. Still don't have anything as far as a potential back stack. We might just have to punt quarterback here. Nobody wants Bill. I will take Bill at 112 if you don't, BLK. All right, fine. I'll take Bill. I'll do it. Why is, I mean, I know Bill got nicked up with the groin stuff, but reading into it, it didn't seem like it was warranting huge concern. I'll slurp the Dipperino on Bill. The only thing I don't like about it is just I do like a lot of the running back picks now in the 140, 150 range. I like Mike Washington. I like Marshawn Lloyd. I like some of the late stuff. You know, Emmett Johnson with Kenneth Walker a little dinged up is now a bit more intriguing as a late round running back target. But we will just be rolling out wide receivers in quarterbacks most of the way because we now have 5 running backs, 4 wide receivers, 1 tight end. The Curl 99 doing the age-old exercise. What are the chances that no one has still drafted the winning BBM team? So fill rate here, 78%. The math says that the winning team has already been drafted. Like the smart money would be the contest is almost 80% of the way full. You can, I think, say, hey, the best teams, the strongest teams will be drafted over the next couple of weeks. The final 22%, 21% will be better teams. But even then, if you want to assign a greater chance to those teams hitting than, say, the first 20%, you're still looking at, I don't know, 55, 60% chance the winning team has already been drafted. And that concludes today's back of the napkin, vibes-based, unknowable BBM math. Yeah, Dreaming of Sunday says Bill at 112 is crazy. He was on rehab field day after groin injury, not standing and watching. Yeah, we got to take advantage of these micro dips. We are in the best ball age of immediate overreactions. All right. This could definitely be a Romeo Doubs-ass team. I think Malik Willis, if I'm looking at some of the quarterback options, he makes sense. Shakir goes. I think this is a Dobbs pick here. He slides about 10 picks past ADP, still building out this wide receiver room. Again, no backstacks available, but Dobbs, I think, is just a strong selection here. And I do, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but I do think Kayshon Boutte leaving just strengthens the Dobbs pick just slightly. I mean, they're kind of thinned out now. They're pretty thinned out beyond A.J. Brown, Romeo Doubs, Hunter Henry. Dobbs is going to get as much work as he can handle here. So here's the question. I think I pull up Dimes, right? I mean, Malik Willis has the earlier ADP, but I think getting the stack with Dimes and Warren is probably more of a priority. But we're going to have to hope for some quarterback values the rest of the way because we just get our QB1 here at 12-4 Dimes. It is a little nice, though, that the meta and how drafts are shaking out now. I did a couple of my Dalmatian drafts the other day, and there are way more quarterback values than there were, or maybe I won't even say values because we can quibble and say Bryce Young sucks, Cam Ward sucks. I'll just say this. There are actual quarterbacks who are projected to start 17 games available after pick 150. You can get a huge Bryce Young fall. You can get a big Cam Ward fall. You can get a big Aaron Rodgers fall. Geno will slip a good bit. Mendoza is still relatively cheap. So, I mean, a month ago with this build, no quarterbacks through 11, I would have been sweating. I'd have been like, oh boy, get ready to learn Michael Penix, Pete. But now things are normalizing. Nature is healing. People are doing more 2 quarterback builds. People are a little more content to push quarterback. Watch me just absolutely jinx this too with a quarterback run. Yeah, if Pop Douglas is wide receiver 3 now on the Patriots, I've seen that movie. It's a fine flick, but it certainly solidifies the Romeo Doubs thesis if Pop Douglas is who is getting a boost in playing time. Mike says somebody took Kyle Williams 14th round in BBM with me this morning. Sure. Why not? Not for me, but why not? Kyle Williams is going to take Booty's role. I mean, he can try. I mean, on paper, you can say sure, but Kayshon Bouttie's an actual decent football player. We have no evidence that Kyle Williams can play ball in the NFL. What if Hendo is the wide receiver 3 on New England? Not a bad take. Not a bad take. Let's get those wheel routes going again. So Malik Willis goes right after me. CJ Stroud also goes, as to be expected. No other quarterbacks have gone as we come back around here. This is probably a spot not to fuck around too much with quarterback. We could do something like Trey Tucker to set up a Mendoza thing. We could also just grab Hunter Henry. Trey Tucker does go. I guess it could just be like a Cam Ward pick. Do I have any bye week issues? Cam Ward 9. We can always do Ridley late. I guess it's probably Cam Ward here. I don't want to get... This is going to be a 3 quarterback build. And if I don't take one here, I'm definitely taking one at 160, and then I'm having to look at 177, 184, at which point you're kind of looking at the Mendoza-Geno line. I think that was probably the right move to grab the second one there. So we get Cam Ward. We can worry about stacking stuff later. I mean, who's left on Tennessee? Spears is already gone, so it's just Ridley and Helm. I really cooled off on Gunnar Helm. Seems like he's going to be splitting a decent amount of snaps. I will take Hunter Henry here if he comes back. Chig also could make sense to pair with my Bill bet. I think this is a tight end 2 pick here at 14-4. Hawkinson goes. Who do we like more? Chig with Bill or Hunter Henry with Romeo Doubs? We could play Chig as the bigger ADP faller. I mean, Chig at 160, that's like cheaper. That's the cheapest I've seen him in a while. His price did correct a little bit after the Stephon Diggs signing, but I would say it's swung maybe a little too far at that point. I'll take Chig at 160. 2 quarterbacks, Danny Dimes, Cam Ward. 5 running backs, Derrick Henry, Jeremiyah Love, Bucky Irving, RJ Harvey, and Bill. 5 wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins, Makai Lemon, Xavier Worthy, and Romeo Doubs. 2 tight ends, Tyler Warren and Chig Okonkwo. 4 more picks to go. Meg Shoup will be joining us here in about 15 minutes. Number 1, talking about the Jeremiyah Love pizza video. We did watch that at the beginning of the stream. He says it's unironically bullish, no? Yeah, I mean, I just took Jeremiyah Love, so I'm going to spin it as bullish. I think you got it. Unlike the Alec Pierce clips, right? Where he's, walking around with a limp. Coach hyping up Hunter Henry had 6,707 and just got a 2-year extension. Drake likes him a lot. Yeah, I don't deny that at all. I think they're pretty similar bets. I think there's just a little bit more of untapped upside with Chig. I think Hunter Henry's certainly higher floor pick. I don't think anybody could disagree with that. Jake says, Pete, is the first quarter sheet from yesterday behind a paywall somewhere? Yeah, so Nez built this really cool sheet looking at the first 4-week win totals, or not win totals, implied team totals. And I believe he posted that for Badge Bros YouTube members. So if you're a member on the Badge Bros channel and you go to their channel and you look at the posts, you will be able to see that. What's up, Andrew? People say the Alec Pierce limp was just for the swag. Okay, my bad. It's really hard to differentiate between swag limps and actual limps. And so that's on me. That's on me. What are we looking at quarterback-wise? So Mendoza went. So we're looking at Rodgers and Geno here as far as quarterbacks that could realistically start 17 games. We do have Rodgers with the same bye as Cam Ward. We have Geno with the same bye with Dimes. I think this is probably just an Aaron Rodgers pick. Nothing like setting up a draft where you can finish with Calvin Ridley and Jeremy Bernard for the 19th time. They say don't get bored while you're drafting. OG Mans fan enjoyed the first quarter show yesterday. Yeah, that was a fun one. I think now that my eliminator slows and my weekly winner slows are winding down, my free time, my free time I want to put into those first quarter contests. It's a really sick contest. 100K up top that pays out after week 4. Joey Daniels, is there any player in the top 200 you legit have 0%? That's a good question. We should head over to the Solver database and we could look at that. I'm sure there is. I think what was it? There was the infamous year that I had 0% Adam Thielen. So those wide receivers, I think I can sit on. Dulcich looks like a bit of a nice pick here. I mean, it's either Dulcich or Otten for a third tight end. I'm just not really feeling the Helm stuff anymore. So we're going to go Tyler Warren, Chigakonkwo, Greg Dulcich at tight end. Then we'll have 2 more picks. That'll be wide receivers. I might even just Q max here. I might do this for Levitan. I might just load up the queue. Calvin Ridley, Jeremy Bernard, Zachariah Branch, Jalen Noel. His name is Noel. Chris Bell, little sprinkle of Chris Bell these days. I'm still good with Tyquan Thornton. I'm not doing the Xavier Hutchinson stuff, although I think you could do it in the first quarter contest. I also really like Ted Hurst. I'm kind of surprised Ted Hurst hasn't been more of a riser. Like, we've seen huge movements on Jacoby Lane, on Caleb Douglas. And, not only is Ted Hurst having a good camp, but there are legitimate outs to a fast start with whatever's going on with this Emeka Egbuka toe injury. I think you're kind of free rolling him as just a solid 18th round pick, assuming everyone's healthy, and then you have the injury outs to getting on the field and earning targets right out of the gate. What's up, Steve? When's Best Ball Bro vid dropping? Honestly, probably like really close to the season. I'm working on scripting it now. I legitimately, like, full transparency, I feel a ton of pressure with these Best Ball Bro videos. I think they've gotten increasingly better each year. Last year's, I think, was awesome. I feel a lot of pressure to make these good, and I'm spending a lot of time on it. This year's edition is going to be slightly different than previous years. I won't spoil anything, but I need time to make it really good. And then I need Zach to have time to edit it because it's going to require a lot of editing. So that's to say it's coming, but it'll be worth the wait. You're just going to have to be patient, though, because I got to get this right. Do the underdog clocks shorten today? Yes. Yes, they do. It changes at 8 p.m. Eastern. At 8 p.m. Eastern, they will go to 4 hours. I'm back on the clock here. I think we do the Calvin Ridley thing with Cam Ward. I'm sorry I don't have a sexier pick for you, but I took Cam Ward, and Calvin Ridley is just, unfortunately, a good pick at 201 with him. Yeah, thanks, Go AZ Cards. Don't fail us on the Best Ball Bro video. Don't fail us. Thanks. Thanks for making my anxiety and the pressure I'm already feeling not heightened by saying, don't fail us. Imagine the comments. Wow. Pete really failed us this year on this niche inside baseball, best ball comedy video that doesn't make me any money. I would hate to fail you. William, doing anything with Uticow this year? Yes. Uticow streams on Fridays. We'll be back. All right. Do we do, I think we just do, man, I do like Ted Hurst a lot, but we did these backdoor stacks. So let's just do the skinny stacks here. You won't believe it, but I did just take Jeremy Bernard. I will say, though, Jeremy Bernard is no longer my most drafted player. I mentioned this on Off and On the Clock yesterday. Ramondre Stevenson, now my most drafted player at around, I believe, 18%. Here's the final squad, 3-5-7-3. Do you wish you could draft better quarterbacks than Daniel Jones, Cam Ward, Aaron Rodgers? Absolutely. But man, you can build out some banger teams when you push quarterback. Derrick Henry, Jeremiyah Love, Bucky Irving, RJ Harvey, Jacory Croskey-Merritt at running back. Locked and loaded there. I can chill on Jeremiyah Love for 5 to 6 weeks with Henry, Bucky, Harvey, and Bill. Wide receivers are solid too. CD, Higgins, Makai Lemon, Worthy, Dobbs, Ridley, Jeremy. Love that. And then Tyler Warren, Chig, and Dulcich. It's just a solid team. I'm trying to think, in a perfect world, I have just a slightly better QB1. I mean, Baker gets snapped off before me at 111. I don't even know if I would have taken Baker at 112 to go with Bucky. We mentioned Dak went really early in this draft at 71. Herbert went one pick before me. I guess I could have pulled up Lawrence. I could have pulled up Lawrence or Mahomes there. But I just sat in the pocket, was patient. And this is what I mean before, like, no one is, getting excited about Dimes, Ward, and Rodgers. But there was the version of the best ball environment a month or so ago where there's no way Cam Ward's available at 153 and Rodgers at 177. But I don't mind how that one turned out. Let me go see someone was asking if I have anyone at let's see here. Okay, I was going to try to find an easy hyperlink to the solver, but we'll just type it in the old-fashioned way. Let's see if we have anyone at 0% here. Let's look at the draft board this way. What are we? 0.0. It says, let's see. Let's look at some reds here. Here you go. Hampton 2.9, Igbuka 2.2, Allen. Do we have any dark reds? Isaiah Likely 0.7. There you go. 0.7% Isaiah Likely. There you go. Jalen Naylor. I thought I took him on a team. Is this updated? Okay. Let me look at Best Ball Mania. Yeah, this hasn't been updated here. I need to update this. This should sync, right? With my, I had this synced this morning. Oh, maybe I need to re-upload here. Let's actually do this right then. Let me email myself the exposure CSV and re-upload this. Because now I'm curious. I don't think I have 0% Jalen Naylor anymore. Also, while I'm doing this, let's do a coffee giveaway. Let's do a coffee giveaway here for Vassaleros and Sons. Where are we? Best Ball Mania. Let's do Naylor. Hashtag Naylor. Nailor. And you will be entered into a drawing to win a free 12-ounce bag of Vassaleros and Sons coffee. You guys get those hashtags in right now while I update my Explorer here. You guys can get 25% off Vassaleros and Sons coffee with promo code Pete. That'll include free shipping. Also, a good time to mention you can get 20% off the solver with promo code Pete as well. All right, I think we got this in here. All right, successfully processed 196 drafts. Let's go back here and check. Contest, Best Ball Mania through 127. Let's look at this draft board. 0.8% Igbuka, 1.6% likely, 0.8% Naylor. Let's see if we can find a full zero here. 0.8% Isaac TeSlaa, 0.8% Jakobi. There you go. Like, I mean, round 18, sure, I have 0% Najee. Do I really have 0.8% Kamani Vidal? There's my Jeremy, 20.5%. But yes, to answer your question, no full zeros. The highest zero I have is Jalen Naylor at 0.8%. But man, Igbuka, that's a big, I have a big fade on Igbuka and BBM. Oh. All right. 51 entries here. I'm going to pour some more coffee and then we will spin here for our first giveaway. Shout out to everybody watching live this morning. If you are somehow new here, subscribe, like the video. We will be here Mondays and Wednesdays until the beginning of the season. Actually, not sure about Labor Day. We'll have to figure out Labor Day, but still lots of drafts to do here. Is the Igbuka fade all because of injury history? No, it was price driven for most of the summer. Like his ADP is now back at the 3-4 turn, which I found rich to begin with. I did go through a lad phase at the 3-4 turn where I was clicking a lot of lad, passing on Igbuka. I was taking a ton of Garrett Wilson there, ton of Teteroy McMillan. But now the injury stuff has moved in my direction. And during that time, there was the like peak Igbuka enthusiasm where he had moved all the way up to like the early third. People were taking him at the 2-3 turn with the 101, and I just couldn't get there. Dwayne over at Fantasy Life certainly got me more hyped on Igbuka. And then right when I was about to be like, all right, let's roll up our sleeves and get some Igbuka. This might be a scary fade. I much prefer Godwin 5 rounds later. Then Igbuka has this toe injury. And now it's like, holy shit, his ADP needs to drop more. Like, I don't want to take Igbuka over Luther Burden right now. So I don't know. I might just have missed my window to get Igbuka. But let's draw here. 56 of you entered into this giveaway. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Who do we got? Nathaniel Wright. Nathaniel Wright, 616. Congratulations, Nathaniel. Shoot me a message and I'll hit you up with a promo code. We'll do another one of these later in the stream today. Eggers, I thought we said we're going to have a good stream today. I said we're going to keep it cordial. You coming in here and saying rigged, you broke your promise to keep things cordial. Exactly. Crutches says Eggers in prime form. Derogatory. Operative word, derogatory. We'll do another one. Don't worry. Every Monday and Wednesday, I need to talk with my guy, Bob, how long we get the double going, but we'll keep the double giveaways rolling here for Vassaleros and Sons Coffee. Let me name this team so I don't forget. 127th team in the books here. Today's date, 8/26, BBB Solo, 3573. We'll call this one Indiana. in the books. And now it is time to bring my special guest on for another draft. It is none other than Meg Shoup. You know her from the Fanspeak Network. Awesome show, Substack, all that goodness over there. Megan, welcome to Best Ball Breakfast.
Pete, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I realize this is the first time I get to draft with you. This is the fourth time I've gotten to do a show with you. You were sweet to come on Best Ball Jeopardy and our 24-hour live stream. And I joined you for After Dark, but our first draft together. So I'm very, very excited.
Awesome. Me as well. Although I will say, I just drafted Aaron Rodgers without you. I should have saved the Aaron Rodgers pick for drafting with you. That's your guy.
Okay. We can double down if you'd like. I also would like to say, Pete, I mean, all my friends and fam call me Meg. So you got to call me Meg because, you know, we're trying to win $2 million together. We could have a week 17 sweat together. So I think, you know, we've done 4 shows now together and we're trying to, you know, have a week 17 sweat together. So feel free to call me Meg.
I won't call you ma'am. I won't call you Megan. We are now on the shorthand here. Yep. Meg, how are your, you know, final draft plans shaking out here? Are you trying to catch up on BBM? Where are you putting your entries? What are you getting into right now?
Yeah, I love the Adam Levitan joke about going down to 7-Eleven and doing lotto tickets. So I don't do as many of the BBMs. I do that more for content. I'm very excited to do a draft one with you today. But honestly, I'm balancing out a lot of maybe some more super flex since that's still open. I was looking at my exposures yesterday or my portfolio yesterday, and I think 60 to 70% are actually going to be either super flex or marathon style. So nice. On drafters, but then I got some in on the Frenchie marathon. Shout out to Hope and Numi for that and bringing those back in the Frenchie style. So like 60+% are going to be that as opposed to the classic contest, but I still like to get in the classic contest. So yeah, balancing everything out, but I'm pretty happy where I stand, right or wrong. You know, I'm one of those where I'm not afraid of the risk, and you know, we're just going to make our stands and live with it.
Love it. Well, that's what we are going to do right now because I got us in a BBM draft. 3 more here. I did tip people off in the Discord. If you guys want to draft with us, this is my 128th. Let me actually update the ticker because I did spell out Megan. We are shortening this right now to Meg. Right. Don't call me Megan. Here we go.
All right. I love that I got it in the ticker too. I love it.
And you get the Influencer 101, Meg. Right off the rip.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm worried I might not get my guy, but you know who my guy is. I'm sure Kenyon Skattebo. But you know, now with all this FUD and news, maybe I will get him. So you know.
Well, 2 things.
Not I. One, we. Sorry.
But don't tell people your guy on a stream draft. You can't do that. What you actually need to do now, Meg, is talk shit about Cam Skattebo and how he's going to lose his job to Najee Harris and how he's the worst pick on the board. You need to FUD him back to the 4-5.
FUD him back. Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
Anybody who watches me knows that would be a lie. So I don't know that I could, but I could try to fake it. You know, like do like what was that you called in the So You Think You Can Tout, where they had to give the other side and everything.
Oh, the tout twist. Yeah,
the tout twist. I don't even know if I can possibly do it. This is why I don't know that I would have survived So You Think You Can Tout. I don't know if I could have pulled off the tout twist. Someone actually did do Cam Skattebo in the tout twist, didn't they?
They did. I can't place who it was now.
I think it was Hartman. If I'm
okay. The chat is saying that everyone who watches Meg knows her guys. So they're saying you can't even keep this. You're too big of an influencer. Are you Gibbs or here? Gibbs. Are you doing something else?
Gibbs.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless you want to pull up Chase, but Gibbs is fine.
You know, not after the scare yesterday, what he did to us yesterday, making us all hold our breath. We can't reward him with a pull up here.
Yeah, no, my brother always jokes with me. I have 0 poker face, and I truly do. He's tried to teach me poker, and I am terrible at it. So I have 0 poker face, but I have 0 poker face in life too. So like, I'm very like whatever I'm feeling and thinking, you know it, you know. So I can't hold back. I can't. Yeah, everybody that watches my shows knows exactly who I like.
I was thinking about that tout twist thing the other day when the Genty injury happened because Kurt Rambis, of course, loved Genty. He did that for the tout twist. And he was like sarcastically hyping up Mike Washington. Yeah. I meant to go grab that clip because I'm like, well, that sarcastic take on Mike Washington's looking pretty good now. Speaking of Genty, where is the price for you on him, you know, in these best ball contests like BBM that aren't time box? Like, where do you think is the right price for him?
I originally moved him to the 2-3 turn. I just yesterday bumped him back into kind of the middle of second round based on the low, not high news that we're getting. So yeah, I bumped him back into kind of like that 18-19 area is where I have him now.
I think that sounds about right, especially we were talking about this on Off and On the Clock, where I do think if you can get Genty with a unique combo in BBM, where it's like, are there Genty chase teams? Are there Genty, JSN teams? Maybe a couple. That seems like something worth rolling the dice on. Obviously, it changes in these time box contests that are going to pop up, where I think his value is probably more like an early third. But in BBM, I think late second, I'm certainly interested.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, I doubt he'd fall to us, but oh my gosh, that would be amazing. I'm definitely interested in getting those unique combos with him. There's been no more news this morning, has there? On Genty?
I have my news alerts up. I haven't seen anything.
I just realized that. I was like, whew, it is. Yeah. Every day it's like just a huge sweat. I'm just, what are we down to? Like 12 days till the season starts. I'm ready. Riding this roller coaster has been brutal these last couple, and it always is end of August.
No, I think you're right. Isn't it the season kicks off 2 weeks from tonight? Is where we're
thank
at
goodness.
now.
Yes, 14 days. Okay, thank goodness. I am so excited.
There does go Genty at pick 19 to a CMC team. I feel like the 2-3 turn is a little tricky these days. With some of the injuries, some of these guys getting pulled up. Who do you like here, or who would you ideally like to grab with Gibbs?
His Pickens neighbors would be fun for like me if they were both there. Okay, yeah, they are both there. Neighbors goes. Definitely Pickens.
Neighbors go.
I am a huge definitely Pickens. And then I'd be open to there's really no running backs to pull up here that I think is viable. So I would probably go Devonta Smith unless you unless you wanted to pull up a Kyron.
No, I like Devonta. I think him or Chris Olave are the best picks in this range. Olave now on the rise because of Tyson, but I'm never going to say anything bad about my boss's ride or die for 2026, Devonta Smith. How could we not click him? Man?
Then how could we not? Absolutely. Okay, wonderful. There we go. I like starting. I've taken a lot of Pickens at the turn. That's definitely like an auto clip for me if he does come to the turn, which he usually does.
For sure. Yeah, I like to start Gibbs, Pickens, Devonta Smith here. I'm with you. Neighbors falling to the turn there would have been a gift. His ADP still kind of fluctuates a decent bit, but man, as we inch closer and closer to the season, I think you got to be scooping him up in that range as much as possible.
Absolutely. That's why I was really hoping we could get the double tap of Pickens neighbors. That would have been super fun, but yeah. Oh, Chase went 4 in this one. That surprises me.
Yeah, I guess what? Just the 1 day lingering knee hyperextension of like, let me just be a little careful and take Puka instead.
Well, it's not like Puka's not going through stuff right now, too. He's working through something. I don't even understand his injury. What is his injury? Or not injury, but he's tweaked some
bites people.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
No, yeah, I know he's got something going on.
He's got something he's working off to the side type deal. So
let's check the blurb here for us and figure out it's hard to keep track of what's going on with this guy.
That is true. Yes.
All right. Watch out here, Solver. Groin. He wasn't practicing on Monday. He's now ticking toward 2 weeks off the practice field due to soreness in his, the psoas. Is that how you pronounce it?
I was like, I can't, whatever muscle or whatever it is. I was like, I can, psoas. Okay.
So there you go. But I think he's going to be fine. And Puka's the type of guy who he plays physical. He plays through a lot of injuries. So it is what it is. You just kind of have to bite the bullet, I think.
Yeah. I've just been tempted to pull up Chase now. It's obviously I've been float all draft season, but now I'm like, wow, I really like Chase at 2 even now. I still have officially Bijan ranked at 2, but I tend to pull up and try. I'm trying to kind of get a little overweight on Chase. So
we were just doing the first quarter contest yesterday and we took Chase at 102 there. Nez, was having us look at the schedule, and the Bengals have a really nice fast start schedule there, which again, doesn't matter here, but you can certainly make the case for him 102 in that.
When you have to think the urgency has been 3 years in a row where they start so slow. Like if that's not like the main focus of this year is starting hotter, because every year week 1 for them is just a whimper. So I really hope they do start fast, because I do think that game, I've already looked at, the DFS prices and been thinking that through. I've done some builds already. I know you have JMToWin.
What? You're hand building already?
I am. I have 2 shell lineups already. Yes, I'm pretty excited. So and it's all about that Bengals Buck stack. And I keep thinking, how can that go wrong? How can that go wrong? Well, I mean, Bengals have tended to start slow. So, and if Ibuka's not, so I'm already like poking holes in my favorite stack. But yeah, I absolutely love that. Has total potential if both teams are playing well to be a fun week 1 shootout.
I love that. That's how you know you're a real grinder. If you have the week, I'm hard at work on my week 18 cash shell. But I mean, you have in your week 1 DFS. Okay. Are you gonna hold? Guess what? Your guy, top of the queue.
Yes.
Meg.
Oh, the fantasy gods are looking down on us today. Thank goodness. This is beautiful.
Here we go. So I'll let Cam Skattebo go, and then we'll give you a little bit of time here. McLaurin, Tootin, Evans, Adams, DJ Moore, anyone else?
I'll give you a choice on your I'm fine with McLaurin. I mean, Evans is now making me nervous. Adams or DJ Moore would be probably the favorite targets for me. Which one of those do you like the most? Adams,
I'm
Terry,
so light on DJ Moore. You want to pull up DJ Moore?
Yeah,
here?
let's pull up DJ Moore if he's because JMO's gone, right?
JMO is gone.
Yeah. JMO would be, with Gibbs, I would have, where did he go? He went early. He went in the
42.
Yeah, he went early, which that's about where I have him ranked now. I've been pushing him up. Just really good drumbeat from Goff and how he looks in camp. And I don't know. I really see a world and we could still do like a Goff stack, but I really see a world where Detroit could just be more throw heavy this year with you don't have that 1-2 punch with Gibbs and Monty. So I could really see them being a little more pass happy. You could see a world where, Goff has finished, I believe, top 10 in total points, like the 3 years in a row. But you could see a world where, maybe it's like a Stafford year where just the touchdowns regress positively passing touchdowns. And he is finishing like a top 5 quarterback and where we get him. So that's why I was like, if we could do like a Gibbs, JMO, Goff stack, that would be super fun. But yeah, he goes early.
Now that he's successfully on our squad, I need to get the official State of the Union on Cam Skattebo post Najee signing. He didn't play in the preseason game. Cam did. And then we saw Tracy kind of get banished. Najee Harris didn't play in that preseason game either. It was actually Devin Singletary playing ahead. So with that said, where are we at on Cam Skattebo now that he's falling a little bit?
Well, there's just constant, obviously it's a roller coaster, they put out, and I know like some of those depth charts are put out by who knows on the team, but I did like how it was Cam Skattebo RB1 and it was then RB2, Tracy or Najee or Singletary. I think that makes it clear. But then of course, Pat Leonard, who I'm not a huge fan of, I definitely have some strong opinions about beat reporters, and some are noise and some are, more signal, and it, puts out a thing. Well, Najee's getting first team reps. So I think there's going to be FUD with that. And I think Skattebo's the RB1. I get that Najee has a similar skill set to like the big kind of more bruising back who can catch passes too. But to me, the Najee signing was an indictment on Tracy, not Skattebo, in my opinion. And that's not a biased opinion. I really think I think that's what the team is showing. There could be a world where Tracy still gets traded if they're really unhappy with him. So I think with, Najee and Singletary truly as his backups, I really think there's still going to be, can Najee vulture a couple touchdowns? Maybe, but I still think this is going to be a guy who's going to have the goal line role, pass catching role. I don't think it's going to, I think Najee does affect him, but not in a way that I'm scared to draft him.
Yeah, no, I think that's the right take. And I think it's a spot to get cheaper Skattebo because for me, he's always been kind of a risky pick, but the reward is so huge. I was talking about this with Pat on Best Ball Breakfast, where he has the profile with the pass catching chops and the goal line to just be a smash, to deliver early second round value. And so if we're going to get that now to pair with Gibbs, get that sliding, the bet has now gotten cheaper. So yeah, I think if anything, you should be more in now than you were before because the price is much more palatable.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've taken him in the third some this summer. People in my chats can attest to that. I'm not afraid to take him there. So when I get him at the end of the fourth, early fifth, I'm ecstatic. So yeah, very, very happy with this.
All right, let's see what we're going to do here at 6-7 turn. We started with Gibbs and Skattebo as our running backs. We have Pickens, Devontae Smith, and DJ Moore as our wide receivers. Looks like all of the elite quarterbacks other than Daniels are sliding, and I jinxed it. May goes. So Burrow, Hurts, Caleb here. If you're looking at running backs, you're in the Brooks Pollard range. If you're looking at wide receivers, you're in the DK Metcalf QJ range. And then tight end, it would be pulling up a guy like Tucker Kraft. So what are you seeing here?
I would definitely say, this is going to tell my hand as my no poker face. Definitely DK Metcalf would be.
Oh, he's gone. He just went.
Oh,
we lost it.
No. Okay. Then I would say, I would actually pull up Dowdle. What's his current price?
Dowdle is 84.
Let's pull him up. That'll give us time.
Pull him up.
Let's pull him up. Okay. What is Dak's current?
Do you want to do Hurts with Devontae Smith?
I would rather do Dak. I absolutely am obsessed with Dallas's stack.
Okay. All right, let's do it. You want to pull up Dak
let's
here?
pull up Dak. Yeah, let's pull up Dak. Yeah. I'm obsessed with Dallas's playoff schedule, week 17 game, which obviously then we got the week 17 run back already. So we've got Pickens, Dak, Skattebo, boom. Favorite week 17 game. I like it. Well, that and Cincy, Baltimore.
There you go. So are you, because you like Devontae Smith, but you're worried about Hurts, or you just like Dak more?
I just like, I have them ranked like basically right together, but I just like the Dallas offense more. Like, it's not that I think Sean Mannion's going to be a huge upgrade for Hurts and the Philly offense. I think anybody would be an upgrade over last year, but no, I think he's going to be an upgrade, but it is a new offense. So, Dak in another year in this system with the same weapons. And again, loving that playoff schedule and week 17 game. That's my lean here in these type of contests.
Yes. And your guy, Mike, is trolling you in the chat. Somehow the woman who is a Commanders fan, he puts in quotes, is all in on the Giants and Cowboys. So where are your allegiances, Meg?
Yeah, I have to say my fandom has been waning over the last couple of years. And we talked about this on After Dark. Like, yeah. It's funny how the more you do fantasy and NFL betting and that's all the NFL DGen stuff, the more your fandom kind of wanes, or just your allegiances kind of go to that. Also, I just I do hate Adam Peters, the GM. I'm not super impressed with what he has done, and I wanted Drake May, and then here I find out he had Jaden Daniels and JJ McCarthy as his number 2. And ever since I heard that, I'm like, that should be like a fireable offense right now. Like, that is so bad. Now that we've seen that bear out. Like, the Drake May here, I was like rooting for Drake May that night, and he was never going to be there, or even if they would have traded back, it was JJ McCarthy was his number 2. That's bad. And I just think of some of the trades he's made. So that's really hurt my fandom. And and then just, obviously my allegiances go to where my money is.
Yes.
Dak makes me happy. Dak stacks have been good to me. My 2 finals teams and the marathon that was a fun swim all been Dak teams. So then maybe that was another thing, Pete, is I wanted to put some good juju with Dak. All my finals teams I've ever had, Dak Prescott.
There you go. Well, let's see if we can run that back. We start Gibbs. We do go Pickens and Devontae Smith at the 2-3 turn. We get our guy Skattebo coming back. We pull up DJ Moore, and then we do grab Rico Dowdle, a guy I like a good bit as well. And we go Dak Prescott to stack up with Pickens. So balanced build here. 1 quarterback, 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers here. Someone wanted to know your Warren exposure. I don't know if this is a Tyler Warren or a Jalen Warren question.
I'm guessing Jalen Warren. Right. Yeah. I'm guessing Jalen Warren based on the Rico pull up. I do think it's a 1A, 1B, but I do think Rico's the 1A, having the familiarity with McCarthy in Dallas. And then I just think, here on Underdog, I play more on Underdog than any other site. And so half-point PPR touchdown hunting, I think he's going to have the goal line goal. So I have him ranked considerably ahead. So I just have a little bit of Warren and a lot more Dowdle.
I got to give you credit, May. We got people in the chat saying Dak to Meg is like Najee Harris to Felix Castro. I believe BB or DK Millie,
DK. Yep.
Was it the Herzig year? And he was all in on Najee. But your brand is strong. I mean, Skattebo, Steelers, Dak. I mean,
Yes.
you've got more brand plays than I do. I mean, I need some player takes out here. Jeez.
Yeah, no, it is. It's Dak, it's Skattebo, it's Steelers stacks. I saw someone call me a Yinzer fan. I basically am this year. My mom sent me a pic. My parents, I grew up, or my parents lived outside of Pittsburgh. I went to school outside of Pittsburgh. So a lot of friends and family are Steelers fans, but my dad was at the Immaculate Reception. We'll talk about it after this. We got to lock in here.
We're on the, so we got a couple tight ends, Pitts, Fannin, wide receivers. You got Diggs, Worthy, Golden, Pierce, running back. You have Chuba.
Is Pittman there or no? He's gone.
Yes, he is. You want Pittman?
Let's get Pittman, please.
Okay. Let's put Pittman in the queue here and let that play out. Is
Goff still there?
Goff. Yes, but yeah, Goff. You want to pull up Goff with Gibbs?
What are your thoughts? That or what is the running backs? I feel pretty good with our first three.
Chuba.
Let's go Goff.
Or it'd be like Pitts or Fannin. Okay,
let's go Goff.
Did I get it in time? Come on, Nimble Fingers Pete got it in at the buzzer. All right, there we go.
There we go. I'm feeling really good. Nice. And this is like my typical, Pete, this is like checking all the boxes for me.
This is your dream draft?
This is a dream draft. I heard you talk about how you and Davis do heart to heart drafts. And I was going to ask, can we go heart to hearts here? Can we just go get our guys?
Absolutely.
Well, clearly it's my guys.
So, I mean, Goff and Dak, these guys, probably the two out of top four, as far as like teams implied to score the most points on a week-to-week basis. It sounds like, other than your Steelers fascination, it sounds like your brand is good players on good teams. Just make things easy.
Yes. My brand this year especially has been Skattebo and doubling down on that, because last year I was like 50% on Skattebo, and sweet Neil Warfield, like I had like multiple people, probably like 6 or 7 people the day he went down, messaged me as if it was like my husband or son out there. And Neil was the first one. He was like, man, you guys were totally right. That was a fantasy smash. I'm so sorry for your loss. Like it was like, I was getting it. So sorry for your loss. And it bared out that way because it wasn't my best basketball season. And I'm doubling down on that. And it's a lot of good players on good teams, good stacks on good teams. My favorite stacks are, Chargers, Dallas, Bengals. And then the whole Steelers thesis is the Mike McCarthy. It's not getting baked in enough. The Mike McCarthy upgrade, people are comparing things last year. It's like throw out last year. That was Arthur Smith, and his wide receiver too was Calvin Austin, which is sad that he's out for the season. But
yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah. So it's like the upgrades of Pittman, of Dowdle, of the coaching staff who Rodgers is familiar with, obviously. Like it's just not like being baked in enough. When Mike McCarthy has a healthy team, healthy quarterbacks, he has top 5, top 10 offenses. And so I think there's going to be, people will fight about the like positive regression yards versus touchdowns last year. Again, I don't care really what happened last year. I think that with the weapons of Mike McCarthy upgrade, this can be a top 10 offense, and the prices you're getting them at are insanely low, and nobody's really baking that in at all.
Love it. Although Captain James now says, hey, Skattebo's old news. I want to know who's this year's Skattebo. Let's define it as a running back going after pick 100 that you think will be drafting in the top 50 picks next year. You got a guy for that? Well,
that's tough because I am more of a robust drafter. This is like my favorite. Like I was going to say, not only is this my favorite, like player takes, team stacks, it's also my favorite build. Like I do like to have like 3 running backs by this, 6th or 7th round, wherever we took Dowdle. Dowdle is kind of like, if I get a 3rd running back by then, I feel really good. So my tacking on running backs is typically my 4th or 5th running back. And so I guess he probably doesn't mean rookie. I don't really love. So that one's a tough call. I could probably have some other player takes about later guys going. But as far as running back specifically, a lot of my clicks are like probably boring ones that aren't going to be, guys we're drafting early,
risers.
Like Chris Rodriguez. I'm trying to think of some of my other ones lately. I don't really have an exciting answer for that one.
I know. I guess mine right now would I could see Jonah Coleman being a top 50 pick next year. Really good offense, one of the best offensive lines. Dobbins by this point next year, I could see him really ceding to a guy like Coleman. You still have Harvey there, so it's not as clean as like the Skattebo jump where he could really own a backfield. But that would be one that I could definitely squint and see.
Right.
We're on the clock here at 120. I do think it starts to get interesting with Jordan Tyson around this range. Dalton Kincaid is here if you want to go double bills. Who do you want to look at here?
Receiver wise, is there
Tyson, Wan'Dale Robinson, Meyers, Debo?
How about we pull up Debo? Did
I get it?
If not, it's totally okay with tight end.
Oh my goodness, I'm cooking today.
Holy cow.
All right,
holy
quick,
cow.
quick.
Okay, tight end. Go to tight end.
Yeah, you got Kincaid, Kelsey, Likely.
Likely. Let's get more of that sweet week 17.
17. Okay, look
Yeah.
at this. You're single-handedly getting my Likely exposure up here.
Okay, I apologize for being late. I know when I stream with people, I'm like, come on.
No,
so I apologize. I apologize about that, Pete. But I'm happy with that. This leans more into go get my guys. We also have the Devonta Smith, Deebo Samuel week 17 skinny.
Mm-hmm.
So love that. And then we added on to the week 17 game stack. Love that. So
yeah, there you go. You mentioned it. We have the Dak Pickens with Cam and Likely coming back. We have the Philadelphia Devonta Smith Debo that you just mentioned. I believe that's it for our week 17. We got a little week 16 there. Giants play Detroit, so double dipping on that one. Here's the squad through 11 rounds. Dak and Goff at quarterback, Gibbs, Skattebo, Rico at running back, up to 5 wide receivers here. Pickens, Devonta Smith, DJ Moore, Michael Pittman Jr., Deebo Samuel, and tight end Isaiah Likely. Where have you been at on Likely? I've been having a hard time with him in BBM, but I certainly see the early season case if Neighbors is off to a little slow start. But why Likely over guys like Kincaid and Kelsey?
In this case, it was more kind of the stack in a BBM, that kind of stuff, obviously maybe in different ones. But I do like I've kind of ebbed and flowed on it based on, stuff you hear in camp. But you're hearing he's a favorite target of Jackson Dart. I understand his number of routes and that kind of stuff is going to be lower than other tight ends. And, there's some concern there, but I just think if he is truly Jackson Dart's favorite target, then okay, who cares if his route percentage is a little lower? It's mainly been leaning into that he is been the second target essentially, or the first favorite target in camp especially when Neighbors wasn't practicing. So I just, especially their rotation receivers, as wide receiver 2 and 3, they're fine, but I do think that Likely will be the second target for Giants.
Yep. I like it. We are all in on that divisional week 17 game. Just some quick price checks for people we mentioned. Genty went pick 19 here. Jamar Chase fell to 4. Wide range on Bill. I took him at like 111 in the draft I just did. He goes 91 here. Any other players that you're keeping tabs on right now based on kind of injuries? Can you get values? Are they going too high?
Yeah, I mean, Genty has been the biggest one that I've been paying attention to. Obviously there's so many different, obviously rookies rising and that kind of stuff that, I do like to see where they go in different drafts, but I really haven't been chasing a lot of the steam ones up the board, and I'm kind of just, made my bed and going to just lie in it. So
yes. We got the 2-3-5-1 here.
That's like my favorite, nice and balanced. And
it is nice and balanced. And I like, because there's some really nice running backs in this range coming up too. Coleman does go up, 2 of them just come off the board. Mike Washington at 140, Coleman at 138. But let's look at the best available here as far as what we want to do.
So what number will we be at coming up here?
144 and 145.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Don't worry. I'm sure Stephen Chatty's going to be afraid that I'm going to tell you to pull up Rodgers. Don't worry. I won't. I'll hope he comes back. We can sit
on Rodgers. That's right. We can't take Rodgers over a falling Tyler Shock. That we got to draw the line somewhere here, Meg.
Okay. So what is the top running backs?
Not taking Tracy. Tank Bigsby, I think, makes a lot of sense on a Devontae team.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that.
I'll put him in the queue. We have some, Denzel Boston, Jacoby Lane types here, tight end, Chig, Strange. We are going to take Tank first. So we got a little bit of time here. How
high have you pulled up? Are you worried about pulling up? Because I really am getting one price check is Terrance Ferguson. I have been trying to get more and more and more of him. Do you think that's too far to pull up? Because I do really like that.
I want the Meg experience here.
Okay.
I think
Let's go for it.
It's probably a little too fancy over Chig and Brenton Strange, but we're gonna have some fun, Meg.
Again, it's leaning into the good offenses, that I don't think we have any Tampa on this team, but it's leaning into the good offenses and players that could be breaking out. And he is one that I started slow on and that I'm trying to really, really get my exposure up here at the end. So Terrance Ferguson is one I'm trying to get more and more of. I know it's a bit of a pull, but on the turns, you kind of have to just be okay with that. And I tend to go get my guys as opposed to honestly, this is why I do more of the time box stuff. So then I don't feel bad about the CLV or the cost. I'm more of a go get your guys girl.
Well, and the other thing too about it is I mentioned, you have Brenton Strange, you have Hunter Henry. You can take, one of the things, if I'm doing a 3 tight end room, you do want to bake in some upside to it. And so sometimes you're taking the Hunter Henry Chig pick there, and then maybe you're taking the upside swing later in the draft. Here, you basically invert it because we're going to get 3 tight ends. So you go likely Ferg here, then you try to get a Cade Otton, a Greg Dulcich later and swing for the fences.
If I'm really swinging for the fences, for me, it's Pat Freiermuth. If you want the full Meg experience, that's what we're going for. Is if we land this plane with Rodgers Freiermuth, I'll be ecstatic.
How about this? I don't know if I can abide by Freiermuth being a swing for the fences pick, but I can't abide by him being a good pick. I don't know if it's a home run swing.
I actually think Ferguson is a swing for the fences pick in that offense.
For sure.
And then Freiermuth could add to our stack and is a good pick. Pete, I have to ask you this question, and my brother is probably cringing right now as I'm about to ask this. Does your wife love the movie Pretty Woman?
I wouldn't say love. Like I can't remember the last time we talked about it.
So she hasn't quoted it or anything. She hasn't done the big mistake huge. Okay.
I know she's seen it, but we have not had a conversation about Pretty Woman maybe ever.
So it's top 3 favorite movies for me. And I'm sure my mom would be very proud of this, but in my chats a lot, I quote Pretty Woman a lot and I say draft like a hooker. And I say, because one of the biggest lines is, I say who, I say when, I say how much. And so that is basically how I apply it to go and get my guys. I say who, I say when, I say how much. I'm not going to let somebody tell me I'm not going to go get my guys. So draft
that's
like
the Jed York mantra as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. He says to how much, and it wasn't that much.
No, only $140.
$140. Yeah, no, I say that a lot in chat, and it's just leaning into my favorite movie. I also do always love to do the big mistake, huge line from Pretty Woman. So had to drop a couple Pretty Woman lines, had to say that's my way of saying, go get your guys. So
beautiful. Someone was tapping in and saying, checking in to see Meg got Skattebo. We did indeed locked him up at the 4-5 turn. We have a 2-4-5-2 here. Started with Gibbs, went Pickens, Devontae Smith, then did grab Mr. Skattebo, DJ Moore, Rico Dowdle, stacked it up with Dak Prescott. Had to get a Yinzer here. Michael Pittman Jr., Jared Goff with Gibbs, Deebo Samuel, Isaiah Likely to build out that game stack, Tank Bigsby to get another running back and pair with Devontae Smith. And then we went and got our guy, Terrance Ferguson, in round 13. We're coming up here at the 14-15 turn. Honestly, some really good fallers at tight end here. Hunter Henry and Schultz, both here. I think both of them would pair well with this room. Flournoy, if you want to continue to stack up Dak Prescott, and of course your guy Aaron Rodgers, if you cannot resist the third quarterback here.
I cannot resist. So if you want to go ahead, if you want the Meg experience, if you don't mind putting Aaron Rodgers in the queue, I would love that. And then we can talk through the other one. I totally see what you're saying. On the fallers, I do think a tight end could come back, and getting Flournoy feels better to me. So
they both went too. So Henry Schultz. So this might have just made this decision a lot easier.
Well, that made it easier. This is perfect. I mean, Pete, this is one of my favorite drafts. I was so excited to draft with you, and it's going literally swimmingly. I am loving this.
I love it. So we grab Rodgers, our QB3. We get Flournoy there. I think I love him on Dak teams. We get him double stacked. I do have to mention chat talking about something that just happened. Brian Gutenkunst, the GM, there. Hopefully I nailed that as well as I did SOAS. Said they've been preparing for a scenario of Josh Jacobs being suspended just to cover all their bases in case that happens. He's confident in the RB room behind Jacobs, but doesn't rule out an additional move. Said they'll tackle that when something happens. So you could spin that two ways of being like, yeah, you got to cover your basis, plan for all scenarios. Although if you're even mentioning that it's a scenario, it seems like something you might have been told is actually going to happen. What's your read on it?
Okay, I admit I was reading chat part during that. So
you're good. Hey, you're good.
I was like, there's no way I could lie about this one. So I totally apologize. That was a rookie streamer move on my part. I apologize.
You're good. No, it's the GM saying they are planning contingencies in case Jacobs gets suspended. Okay. They haven't been told that anything's concretely happening, but they inferred that they might make a running back move if a suspension does happen. Yeah.
I mean, that sounds pretty ominous that they're, so, and I have kind of baked that into my rankings and had moved Jacobs down. Unfortunately, because I had been so skeptical in the past about Lloyd, I hadn't moved him up quick enough, and I couldn't kind of keep up with that. So that was an error on my part, here sitting, 2 weeks left. And so kind of hand up, I kind of missed that boat. I don't know what we're going to be looking at for length of suspension. But I am very low on Jacobs. The problem is I also am pretty low on Lloyd. So, but yeah, it doesn't sound good.
I think my take on it is I agree here with Money Ain't a Thing. He says, I'll buy the Jacobs dip. We're playing for week 17, not week 1. I think two things can be true, and it's similar with the Genty stuff as well. I think you could say it's similar with the Jeremiyah Love stuff. I think both playing or paying up for the rising RB2, Mike Washington, Tyler Algier, Marshawn Lloyd in this instance, because they're already so cheap, I do think that's viable on this news, while also simultaneously scooping the dip on the more expensive counterparts who are now getting a lot cheaper. Like both of those things, I don't think it has to be mutually exclusive of I'm now all out on Jacobs, I'm all in on Lloyd. I think there's room to play it both ways. And the strength of the second bet getting stronger is worth chasing up boards in a range where there isn't a huge opportunity cost. And it's also worth getting 4 or 5 turn Josh Jacobs if we end up seeing that.
Right. No, I agree with you. And I think that's a good shout out, because the other day with the Genty news, I think too many people were just focused on Mike Washington. And I think it was good. And Steve and I did have a conversation with YouTube members that night about okay, but where would you take Genty? And I do think it's important to have both conversations, not just one in these situations where we don't know what the outcome is going to be.
Yes. Let's see here. The chat was asking earlier, Air Jeff wants to know, we are witnessing a winning team. He wants to know, is he getting cut in on this draft? I think it's just 50-50 here, but if you want to split with the chat, by all means. No. I'm kidding. You were supposed to shoot that down right away, Meg. That was just,
I think my brand, like Chad Candles, I think my brand is pretty nice, but I don't know if we're going to go there.
No, you got to draw the line there. I mean, just think of the tax implications. I mean, how many 1099s can we make our accountants send out to the 431 people watching right now?
Exactly. And I'll say, Pete, this could even be like a regular season sweat. I love the marathon style. This could even be like a regular season sweat, let alone we have a week 17 sweat. So I'm glad you're calling me Meg. I'm glad we can root this on. I'm just calling my shot. I'm loving this team.
All right. Well, I know the job here, and it's putting Pat Freiermuth in the queue. So that is done.
Okay.
We can look at, let's just see what's cooking at running back.
Probably,
I don't know where you're
thinking
at.
One more, Pat Freiermuth is our third. So then one more running back, one more tight end or receiver. So probably 3, 5, 7, 3, right?
Yeah. The question is with running backs, the Jaden Blue stuff hasn't been great lately, but we do have Dak. Are there any other backs here? Do you want to push that and grab another wide receiver as we grab Freiermuth?
Ooh, we've gotten to a real yucky range of receivers too.
I'm not a TeSlaa guy, but we do have Goff. You could do Jeremy with Rodgers. Anything else you see?
No, if you want to do TeSlaa and just lean into the stack, I feel pretty good about our first 7. And he is a speaking of, the underdog format and touchdown hunting, I do think that's where he'll get paid off. So I kind of like that. That's good. I feel like this is good. We now have a double stack with all 3 of our quarterbacks. Do I have that right?
We do. Or not. No, you're right. Yeah. Because we have Pittman, and Freiermuth with Rodgers. We have Gibbs and TeSlaa with Goff, and then we have Flournoy and Pickens with Dak.
Yeah, I like that. I don't know that, and we did get the big run back to Dak with Skattebo and Likely. I don't think we have any Titans, but that's okay. By the way, another reason I love the Steelers picks is, they talked about in the preseason game, it was the second team Seattle offense against the first team Titans defense. That's feeling nice. Titans Steelers week 17. Sounds like the Titans defense could be one to target this season. And so that makes me happy. I don't believe we have a Titans run back, but, and Goff, that's Bears. So I don't think we have that, but I do think we got some skinny run backs in there, like the 49ers Eagles. So I really like this for a BBM as well. But I also kind of like the marathon style. Like, I just think this is a solid team, but also could be really make some noise in playoffs.
I'm curious about this as well, Meg, with all of your Steelers love. Where are you at on my personal Steelers darling, Jeremy Bernard?
Yeah, I know you said you have a big bag of him. I like him as a prospect. I was very in on him. I am worried from camp that it seems like right now, Roman Wilson has a pretty good hold on the wide receiver 3 role, but as we know, that could change. I also just worry for Bernard about, Aaron Rodgers and rookies and, that kind of stuff, that you better not be making mistakes. In fact, I just actually heard a interview with Bernard with Cam Hayward, and he was joking that Aaron Rodgers is older than his mom and that he's basically scared of him, but they were like, that's a good thing. He's teaching you a lot, basically. But yeah, I don't know. Is he going to be able to get a lot of work as a rookie if Roman Wilson, as a third-year guy is kind of doing the job as wide receiver 3? So I like Bernard as a prospect. I just am a little worried how much we're going to see of him in his rookie season, but you never know. Just like Ricky Pearsall, we didn't see much of his rookie season, but he was the darling of week 17, so you never know.
Yep. This is a really perverse question from Go AZ Cards, which I should expect nothing less from this man. He says, out of all your takes, if you had to choose one to be the flop, only one of your takes, all the other ones hit, one of them flops, which one would you sacrifice for the greater good of your take portfolio?
Oh, my take portfolio. Well, one is looking really bad right now, and that's Travis Hunter. So
you're just don't ask that one. Can we keep that one, please?
Yes, no, we'll keep that. I want to keep that one. I love the Travis Hunter thing because I think there's so many ways he can still get there, even though, right now you have people like giving the snap counts on offense versus defense, and that part doesn't look good, but it's a long season. And if there's any receiver injuries, and I just think he's going to be in on high value touches. That's the one. Let's see. That's the one I'm most nervous about right now.
Gotcha. All right. I'm going to put a few names in the queue here. Let's talk through our final selection. I want to know, how far does your Steelers tight end love? Would you ever do the Darnell Washington and Pat Freiermuth double tap?
I've done it. I've done it multiple times because I wrote an article there, especially with late two, like tight ends like that are two that are late. Like if you're just saying, we have who was our first tight, Likely and the Steelers tight end room. I think you're going to get a usable week, several weeks, and obviously low bar with tight ends as far as like a usable week. But I've done that before where I do like one mid-round tight end and both Steelers tight ends with Rodgers.
So we are about to be on the clock. The two running backs I put in the queue, Justice Hill, just kind of, just a more higher projectable volume pick for the floor, I should say. And then Malik Davis on the Dak thing, if you are buying that he's the RB2, Darnell Washington, any other names?
What's your take on the thing? I'm willing to go Malik Davis. I don't know. It's kind of yo-yo. So I'm fine with either. What is your take on it?
I always like correlating, and we got some information. His draft percentage is going to be extremely low in this contest.
Point. Let's do Malik Davis. He's going to be super low in this. You're right. And that's fun too. I do like doing that. I like that, especially in time box where it's going to be super low. But even at this point in time, there's no way he could steam up very high.
All right, Meg, let's recap this team, and then we're going to be welcoming on Goofy Chicken in a second.
Oh, Goofy's great.
Let us know, did we cook here, Meg? Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Aaron Rodgers, Jahmyr Gibbs, Cam Skattebo, Rico Dowdle, Tank Bigsby, Malik Davis, George Pickens, Devontae Smith, DJ Moore, Michael Pittman Jr., Deebo Samuel, Ryan Flournoy, Isaac TeSlaa, 3 tight ends, Isaiah Likely, Terrance Ferguson, and of course, the cherry on top, Pat Freiermuth. How did we do, Meg?
I mean, chef's kiss. We absolutely cooked. This might be one of my favorite drafts all summer, and I'm not just like, again, I have no
Love
poker face. I say how I feel, and I mean this. I love this team. It's my favorite structure type build where we get that, running back projectable volume. We feel good about that, but then we're still building every room feels solid. We have correlation. We have some bringbacks. I am in love with this team. I am just calling my shot. I think we're going to have a week 17 sweat together.
I love it. Super fun drafting with you, Meg. Love you pounding the table to get your guys. And I do like how this turned out as well. Let people know you guys' schedule over there at Fanspeak. You guys do, if people aren't familiar, the amount of Best Ball Sicko and in-depth stuff they do over there is awesome. They also have a Substack you got to get subscribed to. I'll add that to the show notes as well. But Meg, let them know kind of the schedule and what they can expect if they check you guys out.
Oh, appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. For the next week and a half, we will be obviously finishing best ball season strong. We have Best Ball Jeopardy semifinals tonight. We have, Herzig versus Neil Warfield, Nez versus Nice and Blunt. Very exciting.
Heavy hitters.
Heavy hitters. It's going to be really fun. 8:30 tonight, Best Ball Jeopardy semifinals, and then the finals next Wednesday. But we're going to finish best ball season strong. We might do a long stream on the Saturday of Labor Day to finish it out. And then I'm just turning that page and focusing on my DFS shell lineup. We're going to cover DFS. We're going to cover underdog dailies, NFL bets, and all on the channel and Substack. Don't forget about our Substack for people to check it out, because I really think our Substack and channel really marries together well what we talk about. And then, and Steve is actually going to have projections and some good data on our Substack. It's literally with our coupon code, only less than $28 a year or $8 a month. It's dirt cheap, so it certainly doesn't prohibit getting all those other subscriptions you want to have for the NFL season, and checking out ours. We're going to have a lot of good stuff, and we're really excited for the in-season content too.
Awesome. I just dropped that in the link for the audio listeners.
So much. Thank you.
It's easy to find, fanspeakbestball.substack.com. You can also just Google Fanspeak Best Ball Substack, and it'll pop right up there as well. Meg, awesome time drafting with you. Good luck with Jeopardy tonight and the rest of your drafts here. This was a blast.
This was an absolute blast. Thank you so much for having me, and good luck on the rest of your draft season too, Pete.
Awesome. We'll talk to you later, Meg. And now a man that I've not, talked with on camera since So You Think You Can Tell, one of my favorites from the entire show experience, none other than Goofy Chicken. Welcome to Best Ball Breakfast.
What's up, Peter? What is up, audience, man? Thanks for having me, Peter.
You know what? I was like, I'm sitting here thinking, this poor guy's doing way too many shows with send text. Let me save him for just one. Just come do a draft with me. I won't make you draft Calvin Ridley. We'll just have a good time. We can chill out.
Yeah, man. Shout out to my boy Syntex, man. Really enjoy when he's on stream with me. But I've been looking forward to this, Peter. So I'm looking forward to getting a good draft in with you, man, during this best ball breakfast.
That's right, man. We are going to get rolling here in a second. How are your final drafts shaken out? Are you racing to max any of these contests? Or are you just kind of clocking at your own pace?
I have hit my budget. I let the world know my budget was about $3,300. I've hit it. And now I'm just seeing the hay is in the barn. The hay, whatever happens now, it happens. Yeah.
Well, this one's on me. We're gonna still be clucking here. We got the 1-8 Best Ball Mania. Goofy Chicken and I chefing up a $2 million shipper. How are you handling all of this overreaction news cycle? Do you like kind of consuming every morsel of news? Or are you like, I got my takes, man, and preseason doesn't matter that much?
I'm on X, and I'm fully engaged on X. I think that the beat reporters have figured out that any injury news is going to go viral. So I don't think we're having more injuries than we usually have. I think that the beat reporters have figured out that, man, this stuff moves the needle. We're going to post every time somebody walks off the field and puts ice on their knee. So that's what I'm thinking what's going on.
Dude, I think you are spot on, and I don't think it's even contained to just injuries. They now know the little nuggets that get the fantasy crowd going, and they're playing into it. You know what? They are rage baiting us. They are engagement baiting us. And by God, we are falling for it, Goofy.
We are. Like the Jamar Chase knee tweak the other day. Oh, man, the guy that got that on film, that did numbers.
It's crazy. I swear to God, these beat reporters are probably trying to see where the cart is, even if it's not being used. And like, could I get a photo of the player by the cart just to get everybody on X worked up?
Dog, that's what they want. They want that injury news. There isn't what's going on the field is not as important.
All right, we are on the clock at 1-8. Jonathan Taylor, CeeDee Lamb, James Cook, Jefferson. Who's your guy here, Goofy?
I'm going to try to pull up James Cook here, man. I think James Cook is going to be in a different offense this year. Same OC, different offense, but I think he's going to get more targets this year, and he was good at that in college. So I expect Joe Brady to give him some more targets and balance out his kind of targets that he's receiving this year.
When you take James Cook, one thing that will come up often at like pick 41 is if he's there, do you do the Josh Allen with James Cook, or do you like James Cook?
I don't really take early quarterbacks, man. I try to wait till I take my quarterbacks. Sometimes I just don't think the value is there. I'll take guys. I usually start grabbing quarterbacks in the 100s. You know, I'm really trying to fill out my running back spot. I'm trying to fill out my wide receiver room, and then I'll think quarterbacks. That's how I usually approach it in most of my drafts.
We are drafting Best Ball Mania with Goofy Chicken. This is my 129th BBM draft. We start with James Cook here. What's your streaming schedule like these days, Goofy?
I'm streaming every Wednesday with Tex. We're going to take the day off since we're here with Peter Overzet, but usually streaming every Wednesday with Tex. And then I'll do a little lunch BBM stream every now and then when I get a chance.
There you go. Wednesdays with Tex. You guys got to tap in. I'll have the link in the show notes there. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the Goofy Chicken Fantasy Football channel. At 2-5 here, we're about to be on the clock. Best available by ADP, Omarion Hampton, Derrick Henry, Genty, of course, falling, A.J. Brown, Brock Bowers, Nico. Who's your guy here as A.J. Brown comes off the board? I'm going to go running back here, man. I'm going to take Omarion Hampton off the board. Talk to me about Hampton. I've been trying to get a little bit more here. You know, I was kind of spooked early on. Keaton Mitchell, Vidal, all three guys involved. Am I just overthinking it? I just need more Hampton.
Mike McDaniel, he spooked everybody when he came out and said it is going to be a three-headed monster. But I truly believe that Mike McDaniel is going to give Omarion Hampton the ball inside the 5-yard line. He's going to eat up most of those goal line targets. And I think that he's going to have some design stuff for him in the passing game as well. So I do think that there's going to be a share there, but I think Omarion Hampton is going to eat into most of that.
Yeah, and I mean, there's always those elements too where the pie could just be so big that it's okay if a few guys are eating from the same pie. We all like having the bell cow who gets the 20-plus touches, but if Mike McDaniel really leans into using multiple guys, running the ball, 35, 40 times a game, like two guys can pay off their draft costs for sure. Go AZ Cards asking a good question as well. Do you have any plans for streams in season?
Oh, man, I'm still trying to figure that out. This was my first full summer doing streams, best ball, during the best ball season. Maybe do some waiver wires, maybe do some battle royales. We are definitely going to try to keep the momentum going over there. So we'll have something.
Love it. Yeah. And I mean, I would say just from my fan perspective, you got to keep up. I mean, you have someone like Sentex who's been very outspoken about exposures, good picks, bad picks. You got to come on, let him victory lap, and also hold his feet to the fire on the picks that do flop.
Come on, Peter. Definitely can't wait to hold him accountable. He knows. Speaking of, we're having a golden ticket show every week, so we're going to see what those golden tickets are looking like in eliminators, and we are going to keep up with the status of our drafts as the season moves on, because I would love to humble Syntex online.
Yes. The humble pie is coming here soon. All right. On the clock here, Zay Flowers, Javonte, Ladd McConkey, T. Higgins, Igbuka, Allen. Anything you want me to look at here in the third?
I'm looking at Ladd McConkey, and maybe we could put a bet on Mike McDaniel and the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, that's one of the things I've said about the Chargers is that I do find some of the individual pieces overpriced. And yet, if you're going to do it, lean into it, because either the McDaniel thesis is going to work and multiple of these guys are going to smash, or it's not, and they're all going to be overpriced. So might as well make the bet and get, reduce the number of things if you have to get right with the correlation.
Yeah, man, I think Mike McDaniels is going to have a good year sitting in that offensive coordinator seat. This is Mike McDaniels' first year calling plays and not being a head coach. So now he can put all his focus into the offensive game plan. I'm excited to see what he cooks up now that he gets the opportunity to relieve those head coaching duties and focus on scoring points.
You said golden ticket draft. What's your golden ticket draft? What does that mean?
No, you know how in Underdog they got the golden tickets on there if you're advancing or if you're not advancing, if you're in the top 2 of 12. All right, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I had never heard it that way. Now I want my golden.
I think those are golden tickets, right? I think those are golden tickets right there. I think so. Yeah,
you're right. Okay, we're about to pick here in the 4th. As I saw or foretold, I knew Allen would be here. We also have Etienne, Jacobs, Loveland, DeAndre Swift, Luther Burden. Who do you like here, depending on what Champ does? He goes Etienne.
Yeah. It's going to be hard for me to look at Josh Allen right there all lit up in green and not take him on a fall.
Okay, see, this is what I was wondering. I mean, ADP 36, he falls to us at 41. And now, you know what we need for this team to cook? 2 things. The Bills to go Burr and the Chargers to go Burr. It's that easy.
That's it right there.
That's
what we need.
Who are some of your most drafted players at this point in the year? Who did you end up heavy on?
Right now, my most drafted player is, I got a lot of Tyler Algier, and I was drafting him when Jeremiah was good. And after he got his ankle sprayed, I just think that they didn't bring him in for no reason. At camp, he's not going to just lay down. He's going to go out there and compete. He's going to get he's going to get his shares of his touches. So I got a lot of Tyler Algier, man. And I'm still grabbing a lot of Devon Vele. I've been grabbing a lot of Devon Vele pre-draft. I've been grabbing a lot of Devon Vele post-draft. I don't ever want to victory lap somebody getting injured, but now that we see that Jordan Tyson's a little banged up, it's starting to look like a good 18th round and 20th round pick.
Yeah. No, I mean, were you drafting Vele ahead of the Tyson stuff too?
Yeah, I was always fading Tyson and always drafting Vele. I just think he's a big body, good player.
There you go. I mean, they gave up a significant amount for him. They basically said we wanted Vele more than Rashid Shaheed, and now he has a clear runway with Tyson out. So we got this Cook, Hampton, Ladd, Josh Allen start drafting here with Goofy Chicken. Go AZ Card says your guy Sentex isn't in the chat. He's hiding.
Man,
he was here. Yesterday he was in my chat chirping me about the ads running on my channel. I mean, you can't hide from this guy chirping you. He'll find something to chirp you about.
Man, yeah, he's going to be in the chat. He is a good chat rat, man, and I appreciate him hopping in my chat so I can find him. And people think it's crazy, but I like streaming with the guy. So
of course, he's an electric factory. All right, at 5'8" here, Mike Evans is here. Judkins, Christian Watson, Jadarian Price. Who do you like?
Man, I don't like Mike Evans at all, man. I'll go down there and take Christian Watson as our second wide receiver. Take him in that Matt LaFleur offense. He's slated to be the wide receiver 1. He's getting paid like a wide receiver 1, so hopefully he can match his paycheck.
Yeah, I like Watson a lot too. Is the Evans stuff because of kind of recent injury stuff, or just in general you're not a fan this year?
He was hurt last year. He's had his groin this year. He's had his quad this year. And me personally, I don't like to bet against Father Time. It's going to get all of us. So eventually I am going to be right that Mike Evans is washed. It might not be this year, but eventually I'm going to be right very, very soon.
I will say this. I've done the same thing over my fantasy career with Derrick Henry, and I keep waiting to be right. And I just have been waiting a long time. Yeah. A long time.
Yeah. And you will be right. It might not be this year. It may be next year, but you'll be right here soon.
Yes, exactly. All right. So we got Cook, Hampton, Ladd, Josh Allen, Christian Watson. Love Watson this year. Dwayne over at Fantasy Life has him as a priority target in this range. Everything set up for him to have a big year. Let's see what we're looking at in the 6th round. We got our quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. You have Carnell Tate sliding a bit. Henderson comes off the board. Tyler Warren, Marvin Harrison, Ramondre has been a guy I've been pulling up a bit. Who do you like here?
I'm going to still keep taking my best player on the board right here. I like Marvin Harrison. I don't really see – Tyler Warren's a great player, but I do like some tight ends later on in this draft. So if we do I'll take Marvin Harrison here.
Let's do it. Yeah, talk to me about Marv. Obviously, a polarizing figure as far as never really living up to his draft stock, but you still see the vision here at this new price?
And At the new price, exactly. That's the perfect way to say it. I don't love Marvin Harrison, but LaFleur is going to try to do his best to make Marvin Harrison the wide receiver one. He's going to get high volume. He's going to get his targets. I could see him getting anywhere between 150, 170 targets during the season. And that's a lot to work with. And at that position right there, I'm taking him. I like him right there, just off volume alone.
Yep. James Cook, Hampton, we get Ladd, Josh Allen, Christian Watson, and Marvin Harrison with the start. We got some more questions from the chat. Go Easy Cards wants your boots on the ground take about the Atlanta quarterback situation.
Boots on the ground, man. Season ticket holder. I was in the building the first preseason game. I think they're going to try to get Michael Penix ready as fast as possible. I just don't think Tua has it. Just from an eye perspective, he looks overweight. He looks out of shape. I think when Michael Penix is ready, he'll be in there playing.
And I've heard same things. I forget who they had a joint practice with the other day, but the other beat reporter was like, I've never seen a starting quarterback play as bad in this scrimmage as Tua. I mean, the reports on Tua right now is he looks mega cooked.
Yeah, I haven't seen a good report all season, all camp season. So with that being said, when Michael Penix is back and ready, I think Michael Penix outperforms him at practice and eventually takes the job.
Yeah, I think that's a good note there. M. Stockton wants to go in another direction, a completely different direction. He says, any trips to Magic City in the budget, brother? My friend Cinnamon wants to know.
Cinnamon, I've met her. Man, the budget has been completely best ball this year. I have no trips to Magic City planned after spending my money on best ball. Maybe if I'm a winner, I'll take y'all in there with me, but no, not right now. It's not in the budget.
I would do that. That Kamish and Centex and Goofy go celebrate at Magic City after shipping Best Ball Mania. Sounds great.
If we ship anything, that might be a good plan right there.
All right. QJ Herbert. Do we need to just lock up Herbert here on this team?
I'm trying to lock up Herbert right now.
Well, just one thing. We do have double week 7 buys.
Oh, we do.
Figure that out later.
We do. Let's figure that out later. Let's go ahead and just take Herbert right now. Yeah.
I mean, we're all in.
I mean, there's nobody else unless there's somebody else you love right there. There's nobody else that I really love right there in regards to that's going to make a difference on this team. $2 million.
I mean, we need Herbert to cook for this thesis to work. This is what we do. We take Michael Penix with our last pick to cover week 7 bye.
There we go.
Easy game.
It could happen. That's fine. He'll be there. Him or Deshaun, they'll both be there.
That's right. Although I have a lot more confidence that Michael Penix will be the starter in week 7 than I do Deshaun Watson. I'm giving that 2 games until they say, all right, Shadur, it's your turn, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man.
I don't know. You're a Watson guy? What's going on?
I have been a Watson guy since the beginning of training camp. I said Watson was going to win the job, and I don't.
He is.
He won the job. I don't know how fair the competition was. He won the job, though. We don't know the metrics for winning the job. But I'm going to assume that Todd Monken is a professional and gave him the job because he saw something during practice.
Real quick. Harvey, Addison, Laporta, Diggs. Who you like there?
Man, let's go ahead and take the top click and let's go with Jordan Addison right there.
All right, yeah, we'll get Jordan Addison, our 4th wide receiver. No, I mean, I think you're hinting at it, right? Like the Browns have made it very clear from like way back at the beginning of the offseason that they wanted Deshaun Watson to start. To me, it's all pageantry. They can't go from Shadur Sanders to something else. They want Shadur Sanders to finish the season. I think everyone in that organization knows that Watson is trash. Yeah. I just don't. He has been so unbelievably bad that I don't know how you look the fans in the straight face as you're 0-2, 0-3 and say we're not giving it to the kid.
It's easier to go from Deshaun Watson to Shadur. I think that is the consensus. And that could have played into the factor of Todd Monken. I was very unsure if he was going to get the starting position after his, I don't want to call it a rant, but he addressed the fans. And after he addressed the fans, I'm completely sure he lost the fans after that podium statement that he made a couple of days ago. Yeah. It's
They backed themselves into an interesting corner. I forget who I was talking with yesterday on stream, but maybe it was what Davis was saying. Like we could legit see 4 quarterback starts for the Browns this year where you go Watson and then it's like there's Shadur and they're like, oh yeah, remember Dylan Gabriel who we took ahead of Shadur? And then they're like, this is where the chat starts going, Taylon Green. Can you tell me about this guy? Because he gets more buzz than any other fourth string quarterback I've ever heard.
He's fast.
He's fast.
He's fast. He's athletic, and that's enticing. But
there you go.
We got to find out if he could play quarterback. Trying to find a running back here, that would be nice. Don't really see one that. Cue up Kenny Gainwell for us. How far away is that from ADP?
Not far. 5 picks. 5 picks.
Not
from
too
ADP.
far. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Yeah,
and then you got Xavier Worthy with a Week 17 LA Chargers matchup. So we could go ahead and go Xavier Worthy. Let's go ahead and go Kenny Gainwell, man. Let me grab that third running back before there's nothing left.
Yeah, let's get Gainwell there. I do think getting the third running back in this range makes sense. Worthy would have been decent as well. We now have Allen and Herbert. Yes, bye week bros. We know. We are well aware they both are on bye week 7. We'll address that later. One thing about the bye week stuff, right, is the late double bye weeks are harder to cover. Like week 13 buys where you're like, is Jakobi Brissett going to be starting? Blah, blah, blah. You know, with the early week 7 bye, you can actually more reliably cover that with a guy like Brissett. I think we both have some confidence in Penix now. So I do like covering it in that regard. Tight ends, are you in or out on the George Kittle play?
I'm out on the George Kittle right now just because there's talk me into it. I think there's been some good reports out there. I've seen him running around. He looks decent, right? He is going to be one of the main options in San Francisco, and we do need a tight end here.
What about Casey Concepcion? Do you like? I feel like Casey and Kittle both look like good picks here.
Let's grab Kittle over Concepcion. Let's grab our tight end. Let's grab Kittle over Concepcion.
We'll see if Champ snipes us or not. Otherwise, we are going to get Kittle here. We'll get our first tight end. And what on the Allen stuff, do you like pairing him with a Shakir in Kincaid, or are you fine just being like, hey, it's the James Cook and Josh Allen show?
I'm cool with the Josh Allen and James Cook show. I think that's going to be enough, right? If Khalil Shakir falls to us, I wouldn't have any problem grabbing Khalil Shakir. They're surely going to have volume in the offense with him at the slot. Is he off the board yet? No, he's still kicking around here.
Let's do a little recap here. 2, 3, 4, 1. Our 2 quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Justin Herbert. 3 running backs, James Cook and Hampton up top. And we just added Kenny Gainwell. So we have the quarterback and running back stacks for Buffalo and the Chargers, which is fun. The 4 wide receivers, Ladd, Watson, Marvin Harrison, and Addison. And then we just added George Kittle as our tight end 1 here.
All right, let's land it.
Where are you at on the Stribling steam? He went 105 here, one of the biggest risers over the past, week and a half.
I wasn't in on the Stribling steam early. I wish I was in early, and I decided not to chase it. I didn't chase it. I didn't chase him up the board.
I know. That's why it's rough. Anytime the player you're fading gets really cheap, and then you're like, all right, now I'll buy the dip. But when it moves the other direction on you, and you're like, I didn't like this guy at 150, and you want me to take him at 100? I can't stomach that.
Right. I just passed, and it might bite me, but, I didn't want to chase anything up the board.
Shout out to my randomizer guest tomorrow, Rome, the host from Survivor, the Flock League.
Yeah.
Who did famously take Brandon Aubrey in the first 10 rounds. He says kickers not being in best ball is so unfortunate. Rome might be the only person on the planet who has this take, Goofy.
Hey, Rome, I loved your entry video, man. It was awesome. And, kickers being in best ball, I don't know. I think I could pass on that.
So interesting development here, Goofy, as we're about to be on the clock. Shakir is here. There's also a massive faller in Kyler who stacks up with Addison if you just want to pull that trigger.
Man, let's go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do it. And we don't have to draft Penix now. We don't have to guess if Tua might possibly get some weeks in. So we grab Kyler, and I feel like that's a good stack with Jordan Addison. And now, of course, we're done with quarterbacks.
We are officially done at quarterback. Sorry, Tony Squares. We will not be drafting a 4th on this team. Yeah, I was not thinking that we needed to do quarterback, but you get the double whammy of a huge Kyler fall, and we have Addison. I mean, let's let it rip.
Yeah, I think that was the right call on Kyler Murray. Now we got every single quarterback stacked with a legitimate option in their offense. And now, work on tight ends a little bit, and, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. We got a 3-3-4-1. Always easy to find tight ends late. Pretty easy to find wide receivers here. Just have to think through some of the running back stuff as well with just the 3 up top. I mean, one spot to talk about is, because this is kind of the range for him. He certainly won't come back to 152. Are you in on Mike Washington with the Genty uncertainty?
I haven't been in on Mike Washington, but at this price, and we saw the volatility. He went way up the charts when the Ashton Genty news came out. I don't think the Ashton Genty news is finalized, right? I still don't think it's finalized. So I would be good with taking Mike Washington. Of course, we could go ahead and take Khalil Shakir here.
So and Washington just went. So I just put Shakir in the.
Oh, yeah, we could take Khalil Shakir and finish out this Buffalo Bills stack that we have.
Let's do this, man. I mean, look at the symmetry here. We have the starting running back, the quarterback, and, let's say, though, I mean, I guess, sorry, DJ Moore, in this hypothetical, you're going to not be the wide receiver one, but we now have that for Buffalo and the Chargers with these stacks here. I like how this shook out. Yeah, Mike Washington goes 136. I think that's a good price. Marshawn Lloyd goes a few picks after, but I think getting that stack at that price on Shakir was a good pick for us.
How much do you lean on your solver tool, Peter, when you're drafting individually by yourself and you're not taking other people's opinions?
So I like it as for 2 reasons. When I'm doing slow drafts, it like quickly reorients me to the board. You're going through a bunch of picks and it's like, if you didn't have it and I have to go and I have to look at my whole team, think through all of that, it kind of just quickly repositions me. And then the other thing, when I'm live streaming, it's like a safety net of it'll pop up because of my correlation slider if there's a stack like Shakir. And maybe I have him lower in my rankings and I would just forget about him. And it's like, hey, Pete, you might want to stack Shakir with Allen. So it's a helpful crutch in that regard.
And I like that. I like that, man. Hey, Pete, I have to admit, I thought that you were living the soft life. But this right here, streaming best ball, the way you do, man, the effort that you put into it, it's not the soft life, man. You're doing a great job.
Goofy. I appreciate that, but it is. I mean, dude, I'm hanging out with Goofy Chicken, drafting teams for $2 million. It's pretty soft, but I do appreciate that. It's all fun though, man. You do a great job as well, and that's why I was so excited to have you on So You Think You Can Tout, and getting to know you and now getting to watch your streams as a fan has been a real treat.
I appreciate that.
All right, let's see what we want to do here. We could take a stock of the running backs here. I do like a couple of names. Bigsby and Coleman are pretty nice there. If we're looking at tight ends, you got the Brenton Strange, Schultz, Hawkinson. Who do you want to do here at pick 152 152?
Brenton Strange is my number 1 tight end. So I've taken Brenton Strange more than any other tight end in fantasy. I'm a big fan of Liam Cohen. I know that Brenton Strange has that spot locked down at the Y. So, I don't know how you feel about Brenton Strange, but that's one guy that I don't miss him very many times.
No, I like Strange. I think he's a great guy to pair with Kittle. If Kittle's getting off to a little bit of a slow start, Strange is going to be out there. The Jags are going to be a high scoring offense. He's always going to be in the mix for, 4 to 5 catches, always have good touchdown equity. I think he's the perfect kind of, middle guy to take in a 3 tight end room there. So I like that pick for us.
Yeah, Nick, I'm trying to fall into some week 17 correlation out there for all my week 17 correlation bros. It doesn't look like we've been able to accomplish it yet. Where are you on week 17 correlation? Are you more of a divisional correlation guy or a week 17 correlation guy?
I mean, I'm a week 17 guy, although in this draft we have failed to find any week 17 correlation. So maybe we can find it here eventually. Let's see here. If we do, Chargers, where's Emmett Johnson going these days? He could be a bring back potentially. Who do we have? Bills, week 17, Miami. There's some late Miami guys.
There's a Miami guy. There's a couple Miami guys I have on my mind.
Yeah.
And then Minnesota and New York.
Yeah, Minnesota. The Jets, there's cheap Jets guys too.
And there's some cheap Jets out there. So we're not completely dead on this week 17 correlation mission.
Not yet. Running backs got kind of wiped here unless you want to pull up like an Emmett Johnson. We got Keenan here. We got Travis Hunter, Pat Bryant, Adonai Mitchell.
Let's go back to those running backs and maybe, is it too late? Is it too early to take Dylan Sampson?
Let me see if I can get it in.
It's
shit.
Okay.
I didn't. I've been goofy. I've been trying to get my nimble fingers in here quick. And I did Emmett Johnson at the last second.
It's all good. You won't believe how many times Texas lost his mind. I know how hard it is to click and re-click your queue at the last minute, man. I tried. And then when you're trying to find a guy, you tell him somebody at the last minute. Now you're trying to find him on that list. It happens, Peter. It happens.
All right. That's on me. If Dylan Sampson's a league winning,
probably a better click. Okay, yeah.
I mean, we were talking about week 17. There is like Ken Walker's already banged up now. I do think Emmett Johnson looks like the clear RB2. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but here's what I mean. I got to take the L. I want my guests to get their picks. And anytime I don't get my guest picks, I can't sleep at night. I'm going to be thinking about Dylan Sampson tonight as I go to sleep.
No, you shouldn't, man, because the solver is probably smarter than me. And the solver said Emmett Johnson will.
I don't think the solver did. I think that was me.
Oh, that was
just clicking buttons, brother.
Okay, all right.
Other news here, if people want to overreact to, we were talking about the Josh Jacobs stuff earlier. The latest is Josh Downs missed practice today with a calf injury, although he downplayed it and said he thinks he'll resume practicing soon. Just FYI.
Yeah, that just goes back to what we were talking about earlier. People over-reporting injuries. Josh Downs, I don't know who at this point. I don't know who's fine and who's not fine because all the news sounds so dramatic that it's hard to decipher between what's good news and what's bad news.
All right, let's make sure we get the intended pick in this time at 15-8. We have a 3-4-5-2. I've clicked off quarterbacks. Some of the wide receivers here: Omar Cooper, Ryan Flournoy, Pat Bryant, your guy, Devon Vele, Calvin Ridley, although you might be up to your ears in Ridley clicks. What would you like here?
Man, let's go ahead and I'm just going to draft the best player I feel is available on the board, and I'll go Devon Vele right there.
Let's get your guy.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get our guy. Well, my guy. I'm going to say our guy.
I mean, I like Vela. I wasn't clicking him before, but I think he's very much on the menu with Tyson out for Lord knows how long. And like you said, Vele going to be a red zone threat for them. Him and Juwan Johnson. I mean, Juwan Johnson, too, I think is just really undervalued right now.
Yeah, I've been clicking. That's Nathaniel's guy. Yeah, so Juwan Johnson is an undervalued tight end. I have been clicking a little bit of Juwan Johnson. I like a lot of tight ends down there late, and man, that's why I have so little exposure to guys like Brock Bowers and Trey McBride. I think they're very, very good players, but there's so much value at the tight end position late that I tend to fade those high-priced tight ends.
So we see, we were looking at maybe some Jet stuff there. Omar Cooper comes off the board. We were talking Dolphins. Douglas comes off the board here. Are you in on Sadiq or Dulcich as tight ends who would be bringbacks for us?
Both of them are bringbacks, but I'm going to take the upside with Kenyon Sadiq.
Yeah.
And Geno Smith throwing to Kenyon Sadiq.
For sure. I like that. Dulcich goes anyways. I think Sadiq as a week 17 breaking back. I mean, this is like, if you're going to do a punt tight end room, like this is my dream version of it. You get Kittle, who I think is underpriced. You get your meat and potatoes pick and Brenton Strange. Mm-hmm. And then you take a final upside swing. Kenyon Sadiq, one of the most athletic tight ends we've seen come into the league in years. I think this is how you build it out.
Right.
The chat wants to get your take on Devon Vele over Omar Cooper. How do you pass on the round one guy?
Vele. I'm taking Vele over. We're talking about, I'm taking Vele over Cooper all day long. I think Vele, just talking about as offensive coordinator, I think Kellen Moore is a hell of an offensive coordinator. And I put more stock in Kellen Moore than the guy over there with the New York Jets. So I'm taking Vele over Cooper. Somebody about to win some coffee?
That is right. It is time to do a coffee giveaway. And because we just drafted Vele, we're going to use hashtag Vele here. Drop it in the chat, and we will do a spin here in the next few minutes for a free 12-ounce bag of Vassaleros & Sons coffee. Check that link down below. Go see what varieties they have there. Use promo code Pete for 25% off your first order, as well as free shipping. And Goofy and I here have two more picks to make. We're at a 3-4-6-3 here. definitely want to probably take another running back stab, and then kind of up to you.
I'm hoping to get to a 3-5-7-3. I'm hoping to get this roster to a 3-5-7-3. Peter, I've looked at some of your old stuff because I'm a fan, man, and I saw that you've taken a stab at open mic stand up. I'm putting together a tight 5 right now. Any advice for me going up on open mic night?
Yes, I do have advice. Let's make this pick. Let's make this pick. Who, like, looking at the running back board, it definitely has gotten a little gross. You could go all in on the Chargers with Vidal and Hampton, Singleton, Katron Allen, Holani. Anyone you like here?
Man, I was gonna go ahead and take our last wide receiver here, and then throw a Damon Claiborne pick out there. Jerry Jeudy.
All right, let's. No. I think I got it at the last second this time. Whew. All right, that was close.
That's fine, and then we'll go Damon Claiborne as our last pick.
All right, let's make
if
sure
he's there. If somebody doesn't take him,
I'll put him in the queue for us here. Okay, first stand-up thing. I would say you already have good stage presence in that you've done a ton of streaming, you do the teaching, so you're talking to the kids, all of that. So just don't lose your confidence, right? Like, the crowd does not want to smell your nervousness. They want to feel like you're in control. And the other thing I would say is don't try to be like, I don't know what your set is, but overly clever or whatever. I think when you talk about yourself, when people don't know you, that's the best way to kind of endear yourself. I think sometimes, and again, not saying you can't do, situational comedy or talk about other things, but when it's rooted in your personal experience, I think that's the best way to kind of introduce yourself to an audience.
Okay, I'm gonna take that advice, man, and that's where I was headed, man. Doing some personal stuff, throwing some bits in there. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll post it on YouTube.
I love that, man. I love that. Get outside your comfort zone. You are going to be a natural, and we're going to lock up Damon Claiborne here. Talk to me about him. We have some of these rookies in ambiguous situations. Is it a bet against Mason and Aaron Jones, or do you really like him as a prospect?
It's three things. First of all, we already had Kyler Murray and we already had Jordan Addison, so we were already leaning into Minnesota. It is also a slight fade against Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. I understand that Jordan Mason is taking the lead in that backfield right now, but I don't think he just has it solidified to the point where Damon Claiborne can't come out in there and scratch away at some touches. I do think Damon Claiborne is a very, very talented running back, and I do see where this could be a great 18th round running back dart that could come in and give you a couple of weeks, that it could give you a couple of scoring weeks, and that'll be fine for an 18th round pick.
I love it, man. I love how we correlated around three big team level bets here in the Bills, the Chargers, and the Vikings. And we did get to avoid having to take, Michael Penix in the last round. Here's the team, the full recap, and tell me how you think we did here. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, and Kyler Murray at quarterback. James Cook, Omarion Hampton, Kenny Gainwell, Emmett Johnson, Damon Claiborne, Ladd McConkey, Christian Watson, Marvin Harrison, Jordan Addison, Khalil Shakur, Devon Bailey, Jerry Jeudy, George Kittle, Brenton Strange, Kenyon Sadiq. Did we cook?
I'm not saying it's flaming hot, but we put something together. And what we put together has a potential to not only get out of this pool, but we need a little luck on our side. And maybe this is a $2 million winner.
I like it, man. Yeah, I mean, if I look at this team, A-plus quarterbacks, like I said, A-plus tight end room, if you're picking after 110, I would say I would give our wide receivers a B, like a solid B. Running back room, the finish there may be a little rougher. I give it a B- on the running back room. But I think the quarterbacks, the tight ends, the correlation, we don't have to get that many things right on this team. Just Bills, Chargers, Minnesota, do your thing, and we're cooking.
Hey, that's a gracious grade and the only thing that could be a little bit soft is the running back room. Other than that, I think we're pretty good, man.
Beautiful. Going back to the week 17 thing, is that something you go out of your way to do? It sounds like you were pretty dialed on the week 17 matchups.
I dialed it in because I'm using your site credits. Usually I'm drafting best player available. You're right. Not even really thinking about correlation. Yeah.
You're swinging for the fences on my account, but you're playing it a little more close to the vest on yours.
I feel like thinking about correlation is is playing it more safe than just going after the best player available.
Well, what I would say to that is I think if you're just taking best player available, and again, we could talk about how you're defining that, but I think you're probably more likely to advance, right? Which is getting your money back, making sure you're not just torching $25 a pop. The week 17 correlation is like you might sacrifice your advance rate, your ability to get there, but on the rare chance you get a team to week 17, then you start to really dream about those game stacks taking you to the promised land.
Text just popped up on my phone. That running back room is ass. All right, so thank you, Text.
There you go. That is the review that I would always dream of. Has Centex ever liked one of your drafts? Have you ever drafted a team where he was just like, you know what? That was pretty good.
Not if he didn't make every pick. Not if he didn't make every pick.
Incredible. Actually, Champ, who was in this draft with us, points out that Underdog in their default projections, anytime you get 3 early quarterbacks, your default projections go through the roof. So 3,000 points, they should just give it to us now. Projected points matter.
I mean, when you grab Josh Allen and Justin Herbert and then add on another guaranteed starting quarterback, your projection is probably going to be a little bit high.
Incredible. I know you mentioned it at the top of the show, but let people know your streaming schedule here. I'm going to drop in the chat the link to the Goofy Chicken channel, but let them know where they can check out more.
What's up? We drafted on Goofy Chicken Fantasy every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Usually I'm streaming with my guy, Syntex Legend. We appreciate y'all hopping in there, showing some love in the chat. And if you don't mind, it costs you nothing. Go ahead and subscribe to Goofy Chicken Fantasy. It is a free subscription for life.
Free subscription for life. You heard that. Even if YouTube wants to start charging for base level subs, Goofy says, no way. I'm not making you pay for my YouTube channel.
No.
I love it. I just dropped that in the link. I see right now, Goofy Chicken has 382 subscribers. That is unacceptable. When I refresh here in a few minutes, this better be at 400 minimum. I dropped the link in the chat. Get Goofy up there to that 400 threshold. Do you do any of the things like Jerry where he'll promise or PPR Tyler that they'll do a 24-hour marathon stream, a 12-hour marathon stream? Do you have any stretch goals like that?
I have not made any promises. I may do a marathon if we hit 500 subs. I appreciate you, Peter, for putting my link in the chat and telling people to go over there and sub. We're not telling you what to do. We're asking you what to do. We're nice gentlemen. So please go over there and sub to Goofy Chicken Fantasy.
All right, and on your way out, Make Money here has sent in a nice super chat. They were in the draft with us. They want us to review his team. He didn't say to sauce it, so he's not saying to really go after him. He has Jackson Dart, Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Jacobs, Rico Dowdle, Bill, Woody Marks, Ray Davis, Kalen Black, Puka Nacua, Neighbors, J-Mo, Metcalf, Wan'Dale Robinson, Travis Hunter, and Nick Westbrook-Akine. Okay, I'm listening. And then Trey McBride and Isaiah Likely. How did our guy do here?
Hey, man, nice, fun team. We wish you the best. That's about all I can say.
We wish you the best.
We wish you the best. But I hope that we get out of this lobby and not you. So, I can't root for you. But, yeah, man, fun team. What about you, Pete? What you got for that?
I love that. We wish you the best, but not really, because we want to advance, not you. Some strong correlation here. I like the build there. McBride likely playing the Josh Jacobs dip kind of in real time with some of that news. I think the way you allocated your draft capital here was really strong. You get the Rodgers stack. What did you do with dimes here? Naked dimes? No, okay, you tacked on the Westbrook-Akine. I guess the only thing I would say there, maybe a little too cute unless you do think the Alec Pierce stuff is pretty devastating. I would maybe try to take a swing on a rookie wide receiver, maybe a Ted Hurst type, my guy Jeremy Bernard. But otherwise, I think you did well here.
There you go.
All right. We wish you the second best is what Christian Lynch says. That's your new line. How did I do? I wish you the second best. All right. I am going to bring on my guy, JMToWin. Goofy, a pleasure drafting with you. Good luck with the rest of your drafts, and I'm sure this will not be the last time we get together for a stream.
See you, Peter. Appreciate it.
All right, peace. All right, normally it's a Friday when we're talking. It's the heart of the NFL season, but this has become an annual tradition, priming the pump, so to speak, with a best ball draft with JMToWin from 1 week season. How we doing, JM?
Man, it's good to be back, Pete. diving into some best ball ADP stuff last night. For any of you who don't tune in to this with me on here each year, I don't do drafts. So, but I'm prepping for the NFL season, deep into that over the last month, and yeah, ready to spit some takes or hot takes and talk ball, and mostly just hang out, because that's really what I'm here for, is just to see you, Pete.
No, hey, this is always, like I said, it's now become the annual tradition. We will be back every Friday, I believe 1 p.m. Eastern, right, Jam? That's our confirmed time slot.
That's right. Yeah, I got to do some quick math there. 1 p.m. Eastern, though.
Yes, so that'll be 2 weeks from Friday is when that show will kick off. The NFL season kicks off 2 weeks from tonight, but we will have our Friday DFS show, The Block Party. Can't wait for that. Someone did remind me in the chat, I left a coffee giveaway hanging here. 47 of you entered, so I'm going to spin this real quick, and then we're going to talk some ball in draft with JMToWin. Good luck to all of you. Christian Lynch in the chat takes it down. Shoot me a message. I'll get you that promo code to get your free Vasileros and Sons coffee. I don't know if you know, JM, a lot of things have happened on this channel since you were last here. We have a coffee sponsor now. Vasileros.
I saw you got a little rolling thing down there at the bottom right. I didn't see OWS on there. That's okay though. And then I saw the coffee sponsor. So that's big time, Pete. Big time now.
Don't worry. Once we get the DFS stream going, we'll get the OWS and the ticker. You don't have to worry about that.
And I'm excited for this year, Pete. We've got some cool stuff, but we'll wait on that till a couple of weeks from now, and feature that. But for now, we got some ball to talk.
Yes, yeah, no, and I'm excited about the cascading projections you talked about. I think that's going to be a really cool.
There's some stuff in there that I haven't brought public yet, but driving forward on that, and we'll be ready week 1. And it's going to be a really cool tool for people to use. So kind of create your own projections based on your own game inputs and some other cool stuff.
So before we hop into a draft, let's level set a little bit. You said you've been researching for the NFL season. I mean, one of the things we often talk about with our first couple of shows are some of the macro league trends. Obviously, we have a lot of shifting between OCs and coordinators. Anything standing out to you as you do your research that you're just thinking about heading into this season?
Well, yeah, I'll be keeping a close eye on all this under center stuff that's kind of proliferating throughout the league. It's funny how as things change, everything becomes a cycle. And so we've been talking the last few years about cover 2 defenses as if it's this new thing, right? And I've told the story of Belichick and Saban in the 80s getting together in like a cabin in northern New York. This is a true story, for like 3 days to work together. They were both on different NFL staffs at the time, and they were working together on like, okay, if we were an offense, how would we try to break the cover 2 defense so that they could figure out like some of their counter punches to that, right? And now here we are, whatever this is, 30, 40 years later, and cover 2 is taking over the NFL, and offenses don't know how to stop it. But it's because college offenses stopped playing under center, stopped doing play action, stopped doing all this stuff that cover 2 takes away, right? You have to run defenses out of cover 2. So now we have teams across the league basically saying, okay, like there's been enough time that we've started to develop our players and our systems. And we see the Shanahan, McVay, LaFleur systems across the league doing well, where you have a lot of play action and movement of the pocket. And so we have a lot of teams trying to bring that in this year. And so it'll be interesting to see Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, some of these guys who haven't been under center, shifting to under center, seeing how long that lasts, seeing what the defensive counter punches are, because defenses do continue to get smarter, whether it's, all sorts of different systems, whether it's Flores or Minter and McDonald have kind of similar systems, Fangio. But we're seeing defenses bringing a lot out that are stopping offenses. And so we'll see what those counter punches look like. And we'll see early in the season how effective different teams are and how much we can take from that. And kind of those first like weeks 3 through 6, 7 is always a really good window in DFS, because if we're paying attention, we can adjust before the field. Obviously, we can't do that here. We're kind of doing guesswork. And that's going to be one of the things I'm excited about getting into as the season gets underway, is just seeing what all these different teams and systems look like and how well they're doing and how quickly they're kind of getting their feet under them or where the kinks are. Hey, you know what else I'm excited for, Pete?
What?
Jets offense. I honestly, we'll say something for week 1, but I honestly think Geno's going to have a good year. I've always liked Adonai Mitchell, and then you've got Garrett Wilson still there, Breece Hall.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be an interesting team, right? You don't bring Demario Davis in as whatever he is, 36, 37, 38-year-old to be a starting linebacker, like for the future, right? Like obviously they don't think they're going to a Super Bowl this year, but they're trying to establish a certain culture and they're trying to win games. I think that offense is going to be pretty good this year. So I've got some other hot takes, but we'll save them for later.
And it's nice. It's, the Jets are one of the few teams that you can really stack up cheaply in a smart way. And I definitely want to talk through the rookies with you too. But yeah, there's not, like, it used to be, Bo Nix, Drake May rookie year, they were like free in drafts and they look like awesome selections. Now it's like, I guess Mendoza is still back there, but as far as cheap quarterbacks, everything's gotten pushed up. Everybody's drafting, 3 quarterback builds a lot. So to have a guy like Geno there who, you should be expecting 17 games from, feels nice. One other kind of thing I'm just curious about, from maybe through more of a fantasy and a best ball lens, we obviously have the running backs really pushed up this year. We're coming off of multiple years where they've stayed healthy, they've crushed. I know when we build our DFS teams, we're almost always jamming in 3 running backs who are projecting for 20 plus touches. How do you feel about that in the context of best ball, these tournaments? Are we due for like a 0 RB reckoning where some of this, fragility finally hits, or is it still just get those running backs early from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, you could go either way there. I don't know that I have a strong take on that, Pete. I think that we're going to see running back injuries, right? And then some of these running backs at the top, like I was looking at ADP last night, and I was looking at 4 for 4. I don't know how quickly they're adjusting things because they still had like Jaden Higgins, at like the one, wherever he is, 140s or something like that. It's like he's out now, right? So he's not still being drafted. But it was looking like what I was seeing in the second round was a lot of guesswork, on what, like Ashton Genty and Omarion Hampton. And I'm not saying that these guys won't have good seasons, but some of them won't, Yeah. And so in these early rounds, well, also I have a question for you really quickly, Pete. The Bears offense, where are Luther Burden, Colston Loveland, and DeAndre Swift being drafted?
It's funny. They're all 4th round picks.
Okay. Yes. So in thinking about strategy, right, we're all working with the same information. And so what creates uniqueness is unique combinations. We talk about this a lot in DFS, where it's not necessarily, in fact, I had somebody who put some research across my desk the other day that he'd done like 1,000 hours of showdown research, and he's written a course, and I have a call with him later today. But one of the things that he was highlighting was like these situations where you pay up for 2 players in showdown that most rosters don't have, right? People are going to have the same players, but it's if you have these unique combinations is where a lot of these winners end up coming from. And so when I was looking at ADP last night, and it was like Bears, all 3 together. It was like, how many rosters are going to have the Bears offense stacked when you have to burn like a super early draft pick to reach for one of these guys, or get 3rd, 4th, 5th round and hope one of them falls to the 5th round. And so thinking about these unique combinations is one of the things that we want to think about. And then also thinking about like our ability to win in best ball is not to be smarter than the field in terms of our prediction of what's going to happen, right? So I think that there is a component of, for me, taking more sure things early on, unless it's a non-sure thing that can just like hit it out of the park and maybe be the top overall scorer. So Omarion Hampton could fall into that bucket, right? If everything falls just right for this Chargers offense with Mike McDaniel there, and Omarion Hampton gets all the touches, then all of a sudden he's RB3 or something, and he's a value. But is Ashton Genty going to be, the top scorer? Or I ran some research, since we haven't started drafting yet, I can pull this out. I ran some research last night on Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty, both going to the top 20, right? So across the last 10 seasons, there have been 39 offenses, roughly 4 per season, that have put 2 players in the top 20, okay? What were those offenses in team scoring? 5 of the 39 times they were the number 1 scoring offense. 18 out of 39 times they were a top 5 offense. 30 out of 39 times they were a top 10 offense. So obviously you have this handful of times where it's a non-top 10 scoring offense that produces 2 top 20 scorers, but that has to be a super concentrated offense. Now, obviously that's what people are betting on with Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty, but like that's putting a lot of eggs in this basket of what we don't expect to be a great team, and where we don't even know that Ashton Genty is actually going to be a bell cow workhorse running back, and just assuming that this is all going to fall the right way, that both of these guys are worth the top 20 pick, right? And so I think that's where the little edges is like, stacking additional layers of certainty, and then finding places where we can have unique roster combinations, because like I stopped drafting best ball in 2019, 2020, something like that. Like that was the point in time where I was talking about like, hey, we should be thinking about week 17 championship round, right? Like that ship has passed. That's no longer an edge. That's just like what everybody's doing, right? We've been doing that for a while. And so where are we finding edges? it's probably not having better knowledge. A lot of times it's just thinking about how we put together the roster so that it's different from what other people have. And we find an edge based on that difference. And so I don't know that we're going to try to get 3 Bears on this roster, right? But we've got people watching this and drafting against us and all that. But yeah, I mean, I think those are some of the things we want to think about. And so, yeah, I've got a few other little nuggets here, but we'll wait till we get to the draft for these ones.
Yeah, we are going to hop in a Best Ball Mania draft now. I love that you mentioned both Bears and Chargers, because those are going to be 2 that I wanted to talk to you about. I mean, the Chargers, obviously a huge new variable with Mike McDaniel there. And one of the things that I've been thinking about, and I just talked about with Goofy Chicken, is this idea that like all of the individual pieces I find slightly overpriced, and yet I think if the Mike McDaniel thesis hits, like the Chargers offense could just be one of the offenses you have to have this year. So it's kind of tricky to work through from a price perspective. But man, when I do load up on Chargers, I want to have multiple of these guys just saying, hey, this offense absolutely rips.
Yeah, and that second layer thinking is critical too, where we're saying, okay, what is the bet that I'm placing? I'm placing this bet on these Chargers players. Therefore, I want to go overboard and say, like, not bet that the Chargers have a decent offense, but bet that they have like an elite all-time type of offense, right? Where they're kind of one of these offenses that's still talked about 5 or 10 years from now. Aaron Schatz, who does DVOA, I was listening to him recently, and he was talking about like, analytically, we don't know if Mike McDaniel is a good offensive coordinator, as in like we have such a small sample size and one situation and all that. And he kept highlighting like, I really think he is a good offensive coordinator, but we can't definitively say that. But I think that it's worth like separating the analytics and being able to say, I really do think he is a good offensive coordinator. And that's the bucket that I fall into. I think he's very creative. I think when people talk about like, oh, how is Justin Herbert going to fit in this? Like, really, you don't think Mike McDaniel is adjusting to the strengths of his players? And he's got some strengths here to work with. And so, I really like that offense. I think that the Bears take a step forward this year. So loading up on Bears, I don't think their defense is going to be taking a meaningful step forward this year. So chances for shootouts there. And both those are offenses that I like this year.
All right, we're going to draft from the 111 here, so we'll be able to make a couple of picks back to back and then talk it through. Also, this comment is sending me. Ant says here, man, I would love JMToWin to read me a bedtime story about fantasy football. And in my head, I'm like, that's somewhere between a Cameo and an OnlyFans. I feel like it's right there in between. I can't quite place the kink.
It depends on whether you have the shirt on or the shirt off. I've been reading The Hobbit to William lately. He gets that for free. So, it was switching some fantasy reading at bedtime.
There you go. The Hobbit has been a plot point around the best ball universe this summer because PPR Tyler did not know who wrote The Hobbit, and that became a meme in its own way. But let's figure out what we want to do here at 111. I'll sort by ADP just to kind of throw some names at you. CeeDee Lamb, James Cook, Justin Jefferson, Barkley, Kenneth Walker, Chase Brown, Hampton. Cook does come off the board here. Talk through what you're thinking about here at 111.
Yeah, at 111, I'm taking any of these top 3 who are available, and I would happily just draft them in order, of how they come and let the chips fall as they may.
Yep. Jefferson goes ahead. So CeeDee Lamb at 111, on board with that?
Yep, on board with that.
Let's do it. We got shady advice in the 12 hole, and I know how his leg up Sims draft, so I'll be able to do some good predicting on who we can push around the turn and who will get gobbled up by him here. He goes Barkley, and we'll see what he does with the second pick. And then this is the point of the draft board, Jay, where it is just all green unless you got a guy to pull up. Who do you like here?
I was going to take Saquon. I didn't want to say it out loud in case anyone was watching. But Saquon gets snatched from us. I wouldn't have taken Kenneth Walker. I'll let you pick this one, and then I'll talk a little bit about Saquon and Kenneth Walker. I'm going to take Chase Brown. He's someone who's been pushing up a little bit now. Definitely having a good camp. No competition really there other than P. Ryan, who I think is going to be in a pretty specific role. But yeah, talk about Barkley and Kenneth Walker. Were those your 2 dream picks to come back? No, I think we're taking big risks on Kenneth Walker as a top 13 pick, right? Mm-hmm. I think we're really overselling the running back role in the Kansas City offense. I think we're really overselling the Kansas City offense. And I think we're really overselling Kenneth Walker, right? Imagine if he didn't have the game he had in the Super Bowl, one game that was very public. Is he being drafted 13th overall? That's one that I don't see. And that's one that if I were building a portfolio of 150, I'd probably have like 5 with Kenneth Walker, maybe 0 with Kenneth Walker, and just eat that if he ends up being a top 5 player in the league. I could see him reaching this type of value, but I think that most of his outcomes fall short of this. I think that this Eagles offense is interesting. Another one where we are going under center. And so there's been talk, I've talked about this over the last couple of years, that like the issue is not the offensive coordinators in Philly. The issue is Jalen Hurts, that Jalen Hurts refuses to run any other type of offense, and that Howie Roseman sort of enables him to do that. Jeffrey Lurie enables him to do that. And that kind of at this point in time, they put their foot down and said, no, like we're going to get under center. We're going to throw over the middle of the field more. It's going to be more than just slants and hitches and go routes. And so, I think that this is an offense that is going to suit Saquon really well. There's been a lot of talk about him being more involved in the passing attack. And so I think that there's a lot of ceiling here for Saquon to perform higher than where he's being drafted. And then with Chase Brown, just the opportunity to take a player on what should be a high scoring offense, right? I'd be happy with any of these picks. I think that maybe A.J. Brown is the most fragile, not in terms of obviously injuries or higher likelihood with running backs than wide receivers, but just in terms of like understanding what his role will be and what his ceiling truly is in this Patriots offense, where they should have a good defense and maybe they're not airing it out all the time. But I think Chase Brown's a great pick. Derrick Henry's a great pick if you can stomach the 32-year-old legs.
Yeah.
I can. Devon Achane, you've got question marks around the team and Mike McDaniel being gone and all that. And so I think that Chase Brown is our safest pick here. And then we can start to get kind of sexy once we get to like round 3, honestly. Yeah. Might be. I guess we're not going to get 3 Bears at 5'11", but I don't know. What are your thoughts here, Pete, coming up on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking through the Bear stuff, right? And it's pretty, you can get the 2 of them, and people have been able to get like one of Loveland or Burden and then get Swift in the 5th. That's happened a decent amount. The hardest one to get is Loveland and Burden together because they've both been 4th round picks for the majority of the summer. Swift has really moved up recently because of the Monangai stuff and people just getting more confidence there. And so I was trying to think through how would you even get all 3 from that pick on the board. It's kind of hard. I think you'd probably have to take, I don't even know how you can do it at this point with their ADPs unless you like started in round 2. But we're back on the clock here. Javonte Williams, if you want to go all in on Dallas, T. Higgins all in on Cincy, Igbuka, Allen, Waddle, Garrett Wilson, or we pull up Burden.
Let's go Javonte Williams.
Yeah, Javonte Williams here, and we will go in on Dallas. I take it you're feeling pretty good about their output this year. And then let's actually dial in this.
Yeah, I mean, we can go Bengals again here as well if we want to. Okay, so T. Higgins went.
Goes. Yeah.
I'm good with Emeka. I'm good with Garrett Wilson. Let's go Garrett Wilson. See if we get.
Yeah, you were talking about the Jets. Yeah, let's do that.
The Cowboys. I put a little hot take on X earlier this morning in my little 2-week window when I'm actually on X, and said that one of my hot takes is that the Cowboys are Super Bowl contenders and that their 9.5 win total is going to look like a joke. I think this Cowboys team is really good. Last year, it was, it didn't work out, but it was around the time that I put an MVP bet on Drake May and Matthew Stafford. I also put a Super Bowl bet on the Cowboys because it was like, man, the odds were super long. And it was like, if they make the playoffs, like just watching their games, it was like, they're so competitive. Brian Schottenheimer's a much better coach than I think people still realize, much better coach than I was giving him credit for heading into last season. And that team is a team, which is hard to overstate the importance of that. And I just think that the Cowboys are going to be a really good team this year. And I think that the defense is going to be improved, but not so improved that the offense isn't having to put up points. And we saw how good the offense can be last year. So Javonte Williams, when I was looking at ADP last night, I was thinking, he's one of these guys, he's so unattractive to click on that it keeps him out of this like higher 3rd round or lower 2nd round area where he really could be in terms of the offense he's in, the workload that he should get, the touchdown opportunities he should get. So he's not going to end up exploding in such a way that we're drafting him in the 1st round next year, but I think he can be a solid pick.
Yeah, and a lot of my Javonte shares are with CeeDee Lamb and just kind of playing that out, like you said, where let's just play Dallas Cowboy, absolute nuke year, and you capture so many touchdowns just from those guys. I assume you're pretty in on Pickens as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this Cowboys offense is going to do really well and loading up on it. And now again, we're not doing anything super unique yet, which is the one thing I don't love. And even, talking through like Loveland and Burden, like we could have taken them at 3-11 and 4-2. And I feel like that's probably not super uncommon. Like there's probably a decent number of Loveland Burden rosters, because if you start in round 3, you can grab them both, right? And maybe not as high number of combos as like Javonte and CeeDee Lamb. But yeah, it would be interesting just for any of you drafting to think through, like, let me build some. I mean, ADP is just all of us shaking hands on where players are supposed to land, right? So it's like to draft away from ADP a few times and say, okay, I'm going to take one of these bears in the second round. The problem there is people see what you're doing, so then they just to spite you, they end up taking one of these other guys. But eventually you can get all 3 of these guys on a roster, and there just won't be as many teams that have that combination, which just opens up more pathways to first place, and that's really what we're playing for.
Yeah, and there, you get it slamming shut on you in some ways. You mentioned the Bears thing, right? Like, I think early on when Swift was more of a mid 5th round pick, if you had the courage to pull up Burden, then you get Loveland coming back, and then you could get Swift, and you could actually, and it would basically just require one pull up Burden, because then you get Loveland and Swift at ADP. It just takes one move. Now you have to pull up both Loveland and Burden to do it, and you can't even get Swift. So like the window really shuts on some of those moves here. We are going to pick at 59 here, back end of round 5. We start CeeDee Lamb. We grab Chase Brown, Javonte Williams, and Garrett Wilson. Some of the names here by ADP: Devontae Adams, Quinshon Judkins, Parker Washington, Christian Watson, Jadarian Price, Trevion Henderson, Carnell Tate. Tight end, Tyler Warren is hanging out there. And then you have all the quarterbacks who kind of live in round 6.
Yeah, I'll let you kind of take the wheel on this one and let me know what you're thinking. And if there's something I don't like, then I'll say it.
So I predicted yesterday, I was like, I bet JM's a Parker Washington guy. Are you a Parker Washington guy?
I am a Parker Washington guy, yeah.
So he's been a polarizing player. He's obviously risen a ton in ADP. We now have Brian Thomas with an injury going on. I've been telling the chat, I've been promising them that I'm going to try to get more Parker Washington. I've had sticker shock here, but we grab him at pick 59. Definitely want to hear you talk through Jags wide receivers. And then coming back, Henderson's been falling lately. Tyler Warren, Brian Thomas, Marvin Harrison, and the quarterbacks, Ramondre as well.
If we grab Brian Thomas here, do we get in a bind with quarterbacks and tight ends or anything, or are we good?
No, we should even be in prime location to grab Lawrence at one of those next picks.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think that this Jags team, we can get so deep into analytics that it's hard to zoom out and see that like teams progress or regress every offseason. And so because they had such a great turnover differential, and we know that that's not sticky year to year, they're constantly talked about as one of the top regression candidates, but they're also a fairly young team with a new coach going into his second year that they could also take a step forward. And that doesn't necessarily mean what did they win 13 games last year? It doesn't necessarily mean winning more games this year, but they could be a better team this year than they were last year. And so Parker Washington, you know who he reminds me of is Julian Edelman It's hard for us to wrap our heads around a player continually progressing coming from like low draft stock, right?
Yeah.
Where Julian Edelman, he had a couple like games where he had to have spot starts early in his career and played really well, but he wasn't a featured player in the Patriots offense till I think it was year 5, right? So you're talking about a guy who was drafted in the 7th round, had been a quarterback in college, and then didn't really get playing time until year 5. And then toward the end of his career, like he's the main piece in that offense, right? And so Parker Washington is a guy who's flashed throughout his career, but every year we see him getting better and better. And as he started really ascending last year, it was like, from the outside, if you're not paying attention, the easiest thing is just like, this is a fluke and it won't continue. But we also have to see like sometimes the path that would be a fluke for most players is the path that a player is actually taking. Parker Washington continually gets better. And I think he's genuinely like the 1A, 1B on this offense. It's going to spread the ball around, obviously, but he's going to be a featured piece in this passing attack. And so I like that. And then Brian Thomas Jr. gives us some opportunity for some spiked weeks on weeks where Parker Washington isn't hitting. Obviously, I'm guessing Jakobi goes earlier than both these guys, right? So,
wait, Jakobi Meyers?
What's up? Yeah, Jakobi Meyers. Not Jakobi Lane.
Jakobi Meyers goes at like 105, 110. Is that surprising?
What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
You love Jakobi?
I mean, he's like the staple of the offense. Yeah. Like,
that's an interesting conversation because I would have assumed that part of the Parker Washington thesis is him kind of being that guy over the middle of the field where Jakobi has traditionally, feasted. So you don't find like their kind of high-end outcomes to be negatively correlated?
Well, I mean, I don't think that it's as binary as over the middle and not over the middle, right? Like the entire offense got unlocked when Jakobi Meyers showed up last year. Like he's going to be the engine of the offense. It doesn't mean that he's going to be the most heavily used. Speaking of Julian Edelman, like he's the most Julian Edelman-like player in the NFL, right? And kind of played under him in New England and learned from him and has talked about that. And Devontae Adams has talked about he used to talk about Max Crosby is the only person who works as hard as him in any locker room he's ever been in. And then I've heard him put Jakobi Meyers in that same bucket, right? And so talk about guys who continue to improve. Well, it's the guys who outwork everybody. And so, yeah, I mean, I think just loading up on the offense, right? What we're looking for is spiked weeks from individual pieces and spiked weeks in the playoffs. And so if we can get that lower draft capital on Jakobi Meyers, yeah, I'll take it for sure.
So we're about to pick here. There is the opportunity to get both quarterbacks if you want. Dak's the higher ADP guy, and then Lawrence is at 86. The drafter behind us doesn't have any Cowboys or Jags, and I know the sidekick's not going to suggest Lawrence for Shady, so I think we can get both if you want, or there's some other guys here that we can talk through at running back: Rico, Corum, Dobbins. Wide receiver, you're looking at Sutton, Downs, Addison. How do you want to play this?
I mean, I haven't been drafting. I'm guessing we're going to be really thin at running back if we do this, but I like the idea of taking these quarterbacks. And then, we talked about the potential fragility at running back. We can position ourselves to benefit from injuries or changing roles or whatever, and just try to stack running back in that way.
Yeah, let's grab Dak here, and then we can talk it through. Like if you really, because we mentioned we'll have Geno as a backstack late.
Who's at tight end that we're missing out on?
We're in the Laporta, Kyle Pitts, Fannin range.
Yeah, I mean, we're taking swings there regardless. And at running back,
Rico just went. So it's like Corum, Dobbins, Jordan Mason there.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're taking the same running back in another couple of rounds from now anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, let's take Trevor Lawrence.
I think it makes sense on this. I mean, we double tapped Parker Washington and Brian Thomas. Jakobi may or may not be there for us at 107. I mean, now that you just said he should be going ahead of these guys, maybe he isn't there for us. But we get the double stack there. We get Dak with Lamb and Javonte, and now we just have some really clean team bets on Dallas and the Jags.
Yeah. I mean, good offenses that should be not just high scoring, but should have spiked weeks, which is obviously ultimately what we're looking for. And I kind of like the way that it's built too, in that CeeDee Lamb, Chase Brown, Garrett Wilson, the Jags wide receivers, they all have high usage floors. And so you're not taking a lot of duds in order to expose yourself to the opportunity for spiked weeks, right? You're taking engines of the offenses, guys who are heavily used. I do think that tight end is a separator. I think that really it's McBride and Bowers are the guys that you can bank on, right? Like we're projecting a lot to put Colston Loveland up here in the 4th round. We're projecting a lot of health to put Tucker Kraft where he is. But I think both of those guys are the two other guys likeliest to end up being these separators at tight end. I really like both of those players this year. Tyler Warren, I have a harder time seeing him being a true separator, but obviously it's within the range of outcomes. And then we're past really like the separators. We're in the Laportas where it's like, yeah, they're going to have a good game here and there. And every once in a while, they're going to get you duds. They might get you a couple spiked weeks throughout the season. So it does hurt to me. Like it hurts my soul to do one draft and not have a great tight end, but I like what we're building here. So we'll just have to piece things together at tight end and running back and, do the best that we can there.
And we almost got it. I mean, the McBride price is wild. I've been clicking him a ton in the middle of round 3. He falls to 34 here. I assume we would have gobbled him up at 35.
Yeah. I mean, it's that's an odd one. Yeah. Is it because Brissett? I don't know, because Brissett was feeding him last year.
So it's actually early on, and maybe still because he's sliding. I really don't know why he's sliding. I think it wasn't Brissett. It was that people are worried Brissett wasn't going to be the quarterback in season. Is Carson Beck.
Carson Beck takes
15
over.
through 17. Yeah. But Carson Beck was pretty good in the preseason.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, there's only so much we can control. McBride as a talent. I mean, we're talking Kirk Cousins and Fernando Mendoza for Brock Bowers, So I wouldn't overthink the McBride thing, and I would take him in the late third. I think you get screaming value there.
All right. We have our 2 quarterbacks, our 2 running backs, and 4 wide receivers. We are all in on the Cowboys and the Jags as we head to pick 107. I did put Jakobi in the queue. His ADP is even lower than when I ballparked it to you. It's at 120. He won't get drafted here at the 9-10, so we could take someone else first. I don't know if you like Fannin, if you want another running back. We're in Manungai, Gainwell.
I do like Fannin quite a bit, and I think that he has potential to significantly outperform this ADP.
Yes. I am in on Fannin as well. Another one where people are just spooked about the Browns offense. And I think people are worried that Fannin had no competition for targets last year. They had Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston. Will he get spammed again? But it sounds like we're in agreement. He's just a very good football player.
He's a good football player. Yeah, exactly. And I don't think their quarterback situation is as bad as the public perception either.
Yes. So here's the question. I know it sounds like you're high on Jakobi Meyers. He is here, probably won't come back. Or do you want to get another running back here? Manungai, Gainwell, Rachaad White, or we can continue to push it.
Hey, let's roll the dice. Let's get Jakobi. There's running backs to grab later.
So you think that Jakobi Meyers will have a better fantasy season than even Parker Washington and Brian Thomas?
No, I mean, like me saying I figured he was being drafted higher. I don't want that to come across as a hot take, or people are like saying that that's my take. I think in terms of individual weeks, right? Because that's the game that I play. I just know from a role perspective and a production perspective and a name value perspective that I would have expected Jakobi to be going above Parker Washington. And then based on the season that Brian Thomas Jr. had last year, wouldn't have surprised me if Jakobi was going above him. So honestly, like maybe BTJ and Parker Washington, maybe one or both of them are being slightly overdrafted. Jakobi's definitely being underdrafted, I would say, when you look at like the other players who are also being drafted in this range. But I mean, he's not the only wide receiver who's being underdrafted as well. I think Stephon Diggs is being a little bit underdrafted. I think Stribling's being a little bit underdrafted. Yeah, I mean, and then I won't get to the guys who I think are probably being overdrafted a little bit, but there's certainly some of those as well. But yeah, I mean, I think there's wide receiver value down here. Interesting to see Woody Marks go there. That's who I was thinking of at running back, because I do think Woody Marks I think people are overrating like Montgomery's role and underrating Woody Marks' role. But yeah, I didn't want to say it in case anyone sniped him from us, but there he goes.
He normally is available at 130, so someone was going and getting their guys there. Now that they're both off the board too, I wanted to ask about the Jags backfield. Do you have a lean on, Tootin and Chris Rodriguez?
Like Chris Rodriguez is what I've always called a Jag, just a guy. He runs forward, he fights for extra yards. He's nothing special. So I've always, like, when he's in a backfield and people are like, oh, he's going to take touches, I'm like, but if you're a coach, are you really giving him touches over the other guy? But coaches seem to always love him. And I just don't know what we have in Bashal Tootin. So that scares me a little bit, that it could be kind of a 50-50 type split without Tootin getting enough work to really put up big numbers, and without Chris Rodriguez getting enough work to be super useful. But yeah, I mean, that's my take. We're not going to see Chris Rodriguez explode as a player, or I would be shocked if we did. We could see Tootin because we just don't know as much about him.
Yep. So let's recap this team here as we head to the 11-12. And then I do want you to talk about Fannin a little bit more. CeeDee Lamb, Chase Brown, Javonte, Garrett Wilson, Parker Washington, Brian Thomas, Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, Harold Fannin, Jakobi Meyers. Actually, the picks are flying fast here. So let's hunker down for the 11-12 turn, and then we can talk a bit more. Jordan Tyson obviously falling a ton with the injury. At some point, there's a price for him. His ADP 94, which is kind of fake. The rank I have in right now, 135. We pick at 131. Tight ends, you're looking at, Likely, Goddard, etc. Running backs, we're in the Keaton Mitchell, Mike Washington, Jonah Coma range. We are on the clock. Anyone stand out to you? Yeah,
let's grab a running back. And let's grab Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah.
Speaking of that Chargers offense.
I'm excited to talk to you about Keaton Mitchell. I mean, Mike McDaniel did say he had an injury setback, hasn't practiced for a couple days, but hopefully minor there because the upside is awesome. I have been trying to talk through the Mike Washington price while we're just hanging in the balance of more concrete, timelines as far as Genty. He's an interesting contingent play. Jonah Coleman, kind of an interesting, ambiguous guy in a really good offense with a good offensive line. What position do you want to look at here?
Yeah, I mean, let's take another running back. Let's take one of those two guys, and both those guys have upside. And if Genty ends up injured, not just talking about like the ankle, but if he ends up injured at any point in the season, then you have a starting running back that you're taking down low who has, speed and big play upside. Jonah Coleman is a guy who we know Sean Payton really likes him, and that backfield still feels kind of unsettled. So that could end up being more than it looks like right now. So I think either of those are fine picks.
All right, let's see here. I mean, we'll take Mike Washington. We'll play. I mean, I think there is the chance if the way I'm thinking about it, Jonah Coleman's price is probably going to be here for the next 2 weeks. Don't really see it budging. If we get news today that Genty is going to be placed on PUP or miss 6 weeks, Mike Washington's going to cost 50 picks more in just a few days. So I went ahead and grabbed Mike Washington. Let's circle back. Let's talk Keaton Mitchell, because that is a fun one through the lens of the Chargers offense. Hampton expensive. Every time Mike McDaniel talks, he also mentions Kamani Vidal. He's always very intentional to say our three guys. Where does Keaton Mitchell fit into this larger Chargers picture?
Well, Keaton Mitchell is like a fantasy darling, right? He's one of these guys who for years it's been like, what if with Keaton Mitchell, because he has so much speed. And it just feels like Mike McDaniel is a guy who will figure out how to unlock that in ways that Harbaugh was never able to. And so, I feel like having Keaton Mitchell paired with Mike McDaniel, having that speed on the field, having that option and opportunity for him to find plays for Keaton Mitchell just creates opportunity for spiked weeks, right? It's sort of the opposite of the Mike Washington pick, where Keaton Mitchell is never going to have a sequence of injuries that puts him in the lead back role, right? But we could get some spiked weeks there. And that could end up being difference making at some point in the regular season or in those playoff weeks. Whereas Mike Washington, if that backfield is, I mean, we're talking about Kubiak coming over. And I know Kubiak had some stuff he said early on about getting Genty all these touches, but like Kubiak had Kenneth Walker, who everybody's drafting at, the end of the first round, the top of the second round, and was never giving him a full workload, right? He's splitting work between him and Charbonnet. And so what makes us think that Kubiak is definitely going to just give Genty all these touches? We think that Kenneth Walker is so good that now that he's on the Chiefs, we should be drafting him this high. And yet Clint Kubiak was like, no, we're splitting some touches here, right? So I think Mike Washington could end up being a guy who's getting 8, 10, 11 touches per game. And then also if there's an injury, he ends up actually being a useful piece. And we've sort of built this roster in such a way that obviously we need health from Chase Brown and Javonte Williams. We need, if they have health, they have such high workload floors that they are going to get a steady stream of points with some spiked weeks. And then we need something to break our way at running back on this roster. And so building for potential injuries is the way to do that. And that's kind of how I see those two guys.
Yeah, we have a nice balanced build here, locked up that quarterback position early with Dak and Lawrence. We had two running backs here, Chase Brown, Javonte, and now Keaton and Mike Washington have the solid number ones up top in CD and Garrett Wilson, and then just covered the roulette board on the Jags guys, Parker Washington, Brian Thomas, Jakobi Meyers. And we do grab Harold Fannin, who I want to hear you talk about as well. We keep kicking that conversation down the road, but 13-14 turn positionally, I think all of running back, wide receiver, tight end are in play. If we're looking at tight ends, you're in like Hunter Henry, Terrance Ferguson range here. What position would you like to look at?
I mean, I kind of like Terrance Ferguson, honestly. He's so fun to watch. And, Sean McVay's talked him up and they've said they're going to keep up with this 13 personnel and they're getting the ball into his hands. And I like Terrance Ferguson. I think that Hunter Henry as a guy who is a safe, relied on bet for Drake May is also a really good pick in terms of just trying to get some of those spiked weeks. I do think Fannin provides us with some floor. So if chasing spiked weeks.
I would just say real quick, if there's someone you want to have, I will bet every dollar I have that Shady doesn't take Terrance Ferguson. So it's just if there's someone else you want, we could prioritize, or I'll just get Ferguson here first.
Yeah, go with Ferguson because I'm not familiar enough with the board to grab something else. Okay, so we could take Tank Bigsby as injury insurance. We could take Tyrone Tracy, who I think has a bigger role in that backfield than people are giving him credit for. We could take Dontayvion Wicks, who I think is going to have a much bigger role in the Eagles offense than people are giving him credit for.
What do you think between Bigsby or Wicks, bigger position in need, 5th running back or 6th wide receiver here?
Let's take Wicks.
Yeah. Wicks, I mean, talk about a guy. I mean, literally Jimmy Kempsey, I just like tweeted out like Wicks is locked and loaded as the number 2. And he was kind of handicapping who would be the number 3 to start the season with Lemon and Hollywood and those guys. But do you think this change of scenery for Wicks, kind of unlocks more opportunity? Because he was one of those guys in Green Bay, always earned targets when he was on the field, but was getting yanked off, wasn't always playing in, 2 wide receiver sets, had some drops issues, whatever. But what do you see with Wicks in this new environment?
Well, yeah, I mean, guys develop throughout their career. And so, having an ear to the ground is useful and stuff like this. Think about Devontae Adams' first 2 years, right? I think that it was his rookie year or his second year. He was like number 117 out of 117 wide receivers in PFF's rankings, and he couldn't catch the ball. He had a ton of drops and was super inefficient. And what you hear out of Eagles players is just they use the word violence with Wicks all the time. Violent blocker, violent route runner. And the blocking thing is something that always stands out to me. That was what got me on Puka week 1 of his rookie year, where people were penciling in Van Jefferson as the wide receiver 2, and nobody knew who Puka was. And I'm watching training camp videos of Puka standing next to Cooper Kupp and picking his brains on like the blocking techniques on individual plays. And it was like, well, Sean McVay keeps raving about this guy. And then this is the type of stuff that Sean McVay is going to love, is this guy who's like trying to become a better blocker and refine his game in that way. And that's kind of how I feel about Dontayvion Wicks, is a guy who can get open, a guy who's going to be on the field for his blocking ability in this offense that is a comprehensive, everybody pulling their weight type of offense. And then it just comes down to, can he catch the ball or not? And so I think that we're going to see some big games from him. There's a lot of talk about like, how does Makai Lemon fit into a Jalen Hurts offense? Obviously Mannion wants them to throw over the middle more, but like, is Jalen Hurts really going to do it? We don't have those question marks with Dontayvion Wicks. So I mean, I honestly think that on the Fannin thing, let's jump over to that real quickly. Fannin reminds me of a mistake that I made coming off of Amon-Ra St. Brown's rookie year, where he had all these targets toward the end of his rookie year, but there were also all these injuries. And I was on a podcast and I was like, I just don't think that St. Brown gets as many targets this year, like when everybody's healthy. And then somebody in the chat was like, what if he's just a really good player, And that's kind of how I feel about Fannin, is like, what if he's just a really good player and he's going to continue to command targets in this offense? And so, I don't think he's going to be tight end 2 or anything like that, but I do think that we got good value on Fannin. I think anybody drafting him where we drafted him is getting good value this year.
So we didn't need Geno on this team with the 2 early quarterbacks. He does go, but I did want to have the Jets conversation, and we still do have, did Cooper come off the board? Cooper came off the board. Sadiq is still here. I should mention both of our tight ends have week 11 bye, so we should think about covering that bye there. And I do want to have the Jets conversation with you. Some other names I'll toss out, Flournoy.
Flournoy and Sadiq are both good picks. And we probably need, what do we got? 4 running backs, 5 running backs? You probably need 1 more running back.
Yeah. As well. Let me just check running back board. I do want to talk about Tracy. He's sinking like a rock in drafts. Like he might even be here in our next picks. I want to talk about like, we probably wouldn't do Jaden Blue on a Javonte team. And then it's kind of like true flyer territory at running backs.
Yeah. I mean, I like Braylon Allen too, to be honest.
Okay.
We talk about Jets, but let's take Tracy if he's still there, or it's our pick. Is he there?
He just went.
Okay.
He just went.
Then let's take Flournoy.
I know. Do you want both Sadiq and Flournoy? Because he won't. Shady won't take Flournoy.
Then let's take Sadiq.
Yeah. Let's grab Sadiq here, and then we'll grab Flournoy. Who talk to me about the Jets, because it sounds like you're in on them. Cheap offense, although you like the Breece Hall and the Garrett Wilson picks as well, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I just think that I've always liked Frank Reich, and he did a poor job as the head coach of the Panthers. It is what it is. But he was a really good head coach with the Colts, with good offenses. And like, there's a lot of adults in the room with the Jets now. And, Geno's toward the end of his career, they brought in a lot of veterans on defense, but the Demario Davis one in particular stands out to me because you got this NFL legend who's in whatever season he's in, like number 16 or something like that. And he's still playing at a high level. It's not like they got some schlub just to come in and be a locker room guy, but clearly they're trying to like reset the standard and the locker room and the vibes and the expectations for the future. Does it work? Who knows, right? But they brought a lot of adults into the room to try to do this. And they're also trying to, turn things around and win 6, 7, 8 games. And I could see them being a very scrappy team. And I could see them being aggressive on offense. It's in Aaron Glenn's nature to be aggressive as a coach. And so we have this opportunity here for this offense to, like Geno Smith 3 years ago, 2 years ago, like Las Vegas was such a disaster all the way around. Like Chip Kelly had no idea what he was doing. Pete Carroll had no idea what he was doing with that team. The team didn't buy into him. Brock Bowers was playing hobbled all year. They had nobody to throw to. Like, this is a good situation for Geno to step into, and it's all been positive out of camp. Adonai Mitchell, again, another guy who I think we can see a step forward from. We know how high-end the talent is. It's just all the issues that come with it. This is a spot where anytime you have that sort of invisible number 2, I think there's value in that in terms of DFS, in terms of best ball, where people are kind of like Garrett Wilson, and then it's like, who else on this team? We don't trust Adonai Mitchell, but Adonai Mitchell is supremely talented. It's just a question of keeping his head on straight. Even that game where he dropped the ball right before he scored the touchdown last year in celebration, like everything before that was just elite, like SportsCenter top 10 type of play. He makes this incredible catch, breaks away from the tackle, runs down the sideline, and then drops the ball before he scores, right? Like that's Adonai Mitchell in a nutshell, as he makes these spectacular plays and then follows them up with boneheaded mistakes. But like everything I've heard out of Jets camp and listening to him feels like he continues to make progress as a human, as an NFL player, as a professional, which means his ceiling is sky high. So I just think that like the weapons on this offense with Breece Hall and with Garrett Wilson, and the offensive line is decent and the play caller is good and the defense isn't great. So there could be some shootouts. And so, I just like this Jets offense as a whole this year.
Love it. Yeah. I mean, I just think what is your take? It sounds like you like AD Mitchell. I mean, the Omar Cooper training camp has been very negative. We can actually get back to that because we got 2 more picks to make here. With our round 17, 18, we have 2 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 7 wide receivers, 3 tight ends. Good at running back and quarterback and tight end. I'll pull up running backs here. It sounds like probably not Najee for you with Tracy. Kalen Black is kind of interesting behind CMC. It does seem like he has the RB2 spot right now, is with Jordan James out with a rib injury. Vidal, if you want to double up on Chargers running backs, Singleton, Katron Allen, anyone stand out to you here?
Yeah, let's take Vidal.
Nice. I like getting both Chargers here. And then
let's take Black, because we got to be thinking about ceiling. I actually think that there's a world in a world. I think that there's a throwback. I think that there's a world in which Najee Harris actually gets like 45% of the touches on this Giants offense, but the ceiling just isn't there on Najee. Like no matter how things break, there's no ceiling there. So going in a direction where there is actual ceiling, that where injuries could put us in position to actually win a tournament. I think it sets it up well. I don't know that we've really, this isn't like a banger of a team, probably primarily because of the running back situation where I'm like, we need something to break our way here at running back. But I do like, I like the way we built around these handful of offenses. B, I like the opportunity to chat through things. And C, I like just hanging out with you. So it was still worthwhile, regardless of whether or not this roster wins any money.
Yeah, and let's tie up a few loose ends there. I do want to hear your Tracy take, because he's been someone who really rough preseason, gets dart blown up in pass protection. Then in the second preseason game, fumbles. They bring in Najee. Singletary's playing ahead of him. Where do you still find the Tracy optimism?
I like Tracy has shown to be a pretty good player over time. I don't think that where's Skattebo getting drafted? It's like super high, right?
He's like 4 or 5 turn at this point. Yeah. Yeah.
And running backs are going early, right? So that's like what, RB 22 or something like that. So it's not egregious. Cam Skattebo is really likable from like a media and
a meme standpoint.
Meme standpoint and viral clip standpoint. And like the dude broke his leg and then tried to like stand up and jog off the field, right? Like he's fun in that way, but he's not an elite NFL running back, And so I think that this isn't going to be one person's backfield. I just don't think that it is. And so then other people are going to have roles. And so in the past, Tyrone Tracy has had flashes of playing really well. And I just think that there's opportunity there for him when we can draft him so low. Preseason can be overstated. Remember when Ja'Marr Chase was dropping the ball his rookie year and everyone's like, I don't know, Ja'Marr Chase, they shouldn't have drafted him. Like, he can't catch the ball. And then game starts, like, okay, he's fine. Like, or Ramondre Stevenson with his fumbles last year. And all of a sudden, like, everyone's like, oh man, Ramondre's never playing against Travion Henderson the rest of the season. And Vrabel's like, no, like, let's take him under our wing. Let's encourage him. Let's build him back up. Let's keep giving him the ball. I just think that there's an opportunity for Tyrone Tracy to, by week 2 or 3, all this preseason stuff is forgotten and he's got a role. So that's not like a prediction so much as we're working with incomplete information deep in the draft. And so rather than acting like we can predict what's going to happen, let's let others act like that and take potential value where it falls.
And then Vidal, I mean, I love this move too, where it's like, if, people always ask like, okay, when can you take 2 backs from the same team? Are you going to handcuff your running back in tournaments like this? The idea of playing the 2 cheapest pieces in the Chargers running back room that Mike McDaniel can't stop singing their praises. Not only could these guys both just have standalone value, but then the contingent upside if Hampton got hurt and you're sitting on Mitchell at 131, Vidal at 203. I mean, that could be a massive windfall. Yeah.
And leverage in that, other rosters have now burned a 2nd round pick or even a late 1st round pick on Omarion Hampton. Their rosters get wrecked by this injury. And, we're in position to benefit both directions off of that injury. Is obviously like when you forego running back the way that we did, you need something to break your way. And so that's a situation where it's not just helping you, but it's significantly hurting other rosters as well that spent a high pick on a running back.
Let's do a proper recap of this team here. Had a ton of fun drafting this one with you. Dak Prescott and Trevor Lawrence are 2 quarterbacks. Get to 6 running backs here. Chase Brown, Javonte Williams, Keaton Mitchell, Mike Washington, Kamani Vidal, and Kalen Black. Have the 7 wide receivers here. CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, and then we started Jags maxing Parker Washington, Brian Thomas, Jakobi Meyers. We finish it off with Dontayvion Wicks and Ryan Flournoy. And then the 3 tight ends, Harold Fannin, Terrance Ferguson, Kenyon Sadiq. I feel like we didn't get to talk a ton about Ferguson. He has been like a best ball darling. His price is up, 30, 40 picks from where he was a month ago, but it tracks with all of the glowing reports from camp. When you look at their personnel and it's like, he's easily their 3rd best pass catcher behind Puka and Adams. Talk to me about how you could see this season playing out for T-Ferg.
Yeah, well, one of the biggest benefits that I have in, last year was I got back to watching all the games. And one of the benefits of that is you're seeing players back to back to back. And so when a player flashes, it flashes against what you've seen in all the other games. So 2 tight ends who fell into that bucket for me that were kind of unheralded last year were Terrance Ferguson and Gunnar Helm. So Gunnar Helm, I know, is dropping an ADP, and I think he had a bad preseason game, and the offense obviously looks bad. So Gunnar Helm, that is what it is. But these are 2 guys who they flash when you're watching 16 NFL games and you see these guys make a couple of plays. And it's like, man, these guys could be really good in the future. And so Terrance Ferguson falls into that bucket. And then the drumbeat out of Rams camp has been positive, and we know it's a great offense. And so, are we ever going to get like a truly elite tight end producer from the Rams? Probably not, especially not with Puka and Devontae Adams there. But we certainly have opportunity for some spiked weeks from this Rams passing attack. And Terrance Ferguson has size, he has speed, and he has opportunities to post some big plays. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm drawn to him is just from having seen him pop watching him.
How do you feel about this team? Otherwise, I really like it with the huge bets on offenses we know are going to be good. I like how we kind of filled out the back end of that running back room. I have done some Jags double stacks. I have not done a triple stack, so that was good. And then the tight end room is just about as fun as you can get as far as cheap tight end rooms go.
Yeah, a cheap tight end room with upside. The running backs is the one place where I'm like, but yeah. What I like about it, as I said before, is Javonte and Chase Brown, if they stay healthy, their workloads are guaranteed. So you don't have like the rises and dips that you get with some running backs. And so you're going to have steady production there if these guys are healthy, and then layer in some spiked weeks from there. I think that this is probably a 70th percentile roster, but I haven't been drafting. I'm number 130, Pete. Congratulations. You're almost 150. Next year, one of these years, you and I need to do like 3 drafts in a row.
3 drafts.
And just hang out,
I'm not going to if you want to do another draft now, I can.
I got a call in 20 minutes.
I just figured I'd float it, but
yes.
Well,
I would have. Yeah. I got a call in 20 minutes with this guy who did all this showdown research, pick his brains into things, see if there's a fit there on anything. But like if you got any more spots this year, and if not,
let's do it.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I'll message you because I
haven't done the 130 drafts, right? So it's hard for me to gauge this against my other rosters. And you're a kind person, so of course you're going to say you like it. But yeah, I feel like it's maybe like I feel like we could do better, but it's also a perfectly fine roster with some upside. You know what I really, for me, it's like we really didn't do anything that unique. I guess the Jags triple is unique. But it's not as if there's going to be one weekend where all 3 wide receivers go off with Trevor Lawrence and nobody else has it, right? It's going to be Trevor with 2, and some other people will have those 2. Dak and Flanoy and CeeDee Lamb, that's a nice one, because if there were a Pickens injury or just a random week where Flanoy pops off, then he ends up, being that kind of lower owned Dak and Flanoy stack. And then the running back injuries, because we had to bank on running back injuries for these running backs to end up providing value for us deeper down, you do end up with something that could set you apart if we get those injuries falling our way, which obviously we're not hoping for, but this roster benefits, from that fragility.
I think there is, you definitely got me on whenever I finish drafting a team. Actually, no, there's like 10% of the time I'm like, that team was awful. But yes, most of the time I like a team that I just drafted. But I will say this is reflected in the chat's commentary too. You are just a refreshing breath of fresh air, because a lot of us have been having the same conversations, staring at the same ADP. Obviously now we have a lot of news, injuries that are shaking things up, but to have you come in with some really fresh takes that aren't clouded by groupthink is invigorating for me and everybody else watching.
Yeah, I'll bring the vibes. I'll bring some fresh takes and information. But no, I do love, I love doing these drafts with you because it's a chance to see, kind of get a little glimpse into the best ball streets and the conversations going on here as I'm getting ready for week 1. Bro, I've already got like 5 or 6 practice builds for week 1.
I could
tell you pricing on both the players. I know Gino's 4,600, so.
Do you know which one I was lamenting? I was like, I wish the Niners were on, because I wanted to see the De'Zhaun Stribling. Right. I actually wanted to come back to that one with you, because his price is already like really efficient, or maybe it's not. But like, if there's any Puka vibe to a rookie this year, to me, it feels like De'Zhaun Stribling. What have you been seeing from what he's done in the preseason?
Yeah. I mean, I think that he's, I guess we're never going to see Puka coming in advance, but I think that he's like a really good technician as a route runner and a really good fit for the Shanahan system. Like, I don't think that we're going to get a true, I think that what we're getting is somebody who was great value earlier, and honestly is still great value here. What is he being drafted in, like the 80s or something like that?
No, you can get him cheaper. He bounces around. I think let's see where he went here. He went 99 here. I've seen him go 115. I've seen him go 80. He bounces.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's still probably really good value here. I don't think that he's going to be like drafted in the 3rd round next year, because like physical traits, he doesn't have the physical traits that are typically leading to that type of production. But I do think that he's going to outperform his draft spot. Right. And as we've said many times, we're all working with kind of the same information. And so it's really like ADP starts to get pretty efficient against the information that we have. The information we don't have is what things look like in October as the season is really underway. And that's where all the surprises will have hit us. But with the information that we have, like eventually things are going to get pretty efficient this time of year. It's just whether you're buying the information or not. For me, I'm buying that he can be drafted like a good 2 rounds above this and still be a good pick based on his fit in this offense and his likely role in this offense. But I'm not like over my skis about him. Is that a saying?
Yeah.
I'm not over my skis about him. I think it is a saying, but am I using it correctly? I'm not excited about him, like to where I'm like, man, I'm just got to get him on every roster. But I do think that he's going to have a really good season this year. Yeah.
Yeah. And I do want to, it's been a funny whiplash with him, because and I think for a lot of people, he was available like 160, 170, 180 for most of the summer. And now, sometimes it's like, do I want to add shares of him, in the double digits? But it's like, if a good pick that we got more information on is available, you gotta take it. JM, people were asking in the chat earlier about, are there any new codes? Let people know what's going on for 1 week season. If they want to get in there, start with their practice builds in advance for week one, what can they check out at 1 week season?
Yeah. So Pete, were people really asking about this, or are you just being a good host?
No, I can pull it up and find it. But
yeah,
yes.
Well, I got to make sure that your, let me shoot Aaron a message right now and make sure that your promo codes are connected to everything correctly, because promo code remains 20% off. And so it's going to be promo code Pete, 20% off. But importantly, so two important things. If you're here, if you never come to OWS before, we always make everything free week one, so you can come check us out. But also there's a price bump coming at the end of week one. And so if you get in now, you get in before the price bump and you renew at the lower price next year. So we're also always really generous with refunds, not like 2 months into the season. But if you try us for a couple weeks and you're like, it's not really for me, just let us know. We'll refund the money. So you can check us out, lock in the lower price for next year, and get the discount with promo code Pete. So that's going on. And then again, everything will be free week one. I'll be on with Pete Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern week one. So you'll see me again then. And thing we're most excited about this year, actually a bunch of things, but cascading projections, which, you know what, Pete, should we unveil like the full scope of what this is right now? What do we got? 800 people watching. I don't even know how many people watch this live.
461, but it feels
461.
Like
so if you 461 people, I didn't want to put this in an email too early in case anyone was like, oh, this is a cool idea. Let's try to build this before the season as well. It's a little too late for anybody to steal this now. So you'll be able to input your own game scores for each game and get your projections based on that. But you'll also be able to input a pinned DFS score on one player per game. So you could say, like, if Joe Burrow scores 34 DraftKings points, what are the projections for everybody else in this game off of that? Because what we always talk about is, if we could play the slate 100 times, what would we expect to happen? And then we have to say, okay, in the sample size of one, what's the best way to build? So this allows us to answer that question in the sample size of one, what's the best way to build? And so instead of arbitrarily guessing and saying, okay, I'm going to put Joe Burrow on a roster and hope he has a good game, it's like, if Joe Burrow has a tournament winning game, if he puts up 34 DraftKings points or 36 DraftKings points, what does that do to the projections in the rest of his roster and also the rest of this game? And then you can also change a percentile input for one player per team. So this kind of restricted, you can't do 2 pins per game because you would be restricting things too much. You can't do too many percentile sliders because you're controlling things too much. But it's like, okay, Burrow scores 34 points, that redraws projections. The game is 38 to 34. That's the second tier in the hierarchy that redraws projections. And then in this game environment, not just against standard projections, not what is Ja'Marr Chase's 80th percentile output in a standard game, but what's his 80th percentile output in a game where Burrow scores 34 and the score in the game is 38 to 34. And then that redraws T. Higgins down and Chase Brown down. And so you can kind of see, like, what bet am I making here? I'm betting on Burrow putting up a tournament winning score and Ja'Marr Chase having an 85th percentile game. Do I still want somebody else from this offense, or do I just want this skinny stack? How much does this boost the projections on the other side of this game? And then, like, in week one, you could also say against the Bucs, you could be like, okay, and let's say Emeka Egbuka puts up his 15th percentile game. Well, that's lowering his projections, but it's lowering his projections against heightened projections because we have a shootout, a 38 to 34 game. And so it's like, okay, is Egbuka still useful with a 15th percentile projection? And if not, like, where are these points spilling over to? And so you'll be able to run this out for all the games, kind of get your own custom projections based on your own inputs. And it's going to be a really powerful tool that'll be rolling out Wednesday of week one. So super excited about that.
So are you guys relying on like historical team level correlations kind of to derive those correlation boosts in docs? Like, as far as like, hey, when Ja'Marr Chase goes off, this is generally what T. Higgins does in those games.
Maybe.
Okay.
The secret sauce is the secret sauce, but there's a component of players and team situations change so rapidly, and we're working with such small sample sizes that there is a player learning component, but there's also more of it is based on archetypes and assigned roles and historical play-by-play data and game environments, right? And how they play out and how that impacts things and correlation and like the cascade of, this guy producing like this, what does that do elsewhere? And so, and then drawn against projections. Like actually the way it's built is it could fit over any projections, right? So we thought about white labeling this and making this something available to other sites so that they could fit it over their projections as well. But it's also designed to like interact directly with projections in such a way that it understands from the projections the roles of each players as well as like the other inputs that we have in there. So awesome. Really cool stuff that we've been working on for the last several months and excited to roll it out here in just a couple of weeks now. Yeah,
and we should definitely mess around with that on the building block builds as well. And kind of
and also we got because here's the thing, man. Like DFS subscriptions are so expensive that if you're like if you're playing $10 a week or $20 a week, it's really hard to justify the cost of them. And then you're kind of at a disadvantage because you don't have projections, ownership projections, all that. So we also have an Inner Circle Lite subscription this year. That if you're not like needing all the content, what it does is it has a summary of every article with like the key takeaways. Not a summary that's like hiding things, but like the actual key takeaways. Okay, here's in JM's player grid. Here's sort of bullet points of what he said. Here's what Hilo talked about for strategy in the end around. But then you'll also have full access to projections, ownership projections, and cascading projections. And so that's $129, and with promo code Pete, that'll take another 20% off that. So quick math tells me that's like $103. And so you get access to projections, ownership projections, cascading projections, and the summaries of everything. So yeah, man, there's a lot to be excited about this year, and we wanted to make that available because like not everybody needs a full $229 or $279 subscription, and so we made that available so that people who need the core essentials of a subscription can get that and have the cascading projections, which I think is realistically worth more than the cost of Inner Circle Lite alone. But that'll be available as well this year.
I love that too. I mean, that is really the name of the game when you're doing the weekly daily drafts on Underdog too, where once you take a player, you now live in a different reality for what the rest of that draft means. Like the example I always use is Barkley and Jalen Hurts, where it's like when you draft Barkley, you now live in a world where he's scoring 2 to 3 touchdowns, which means Jalen Hurts is not scoring 2 to 3 push touchdowns. And all of a sudden, Jalen Hurts, who has a good ADP of 15, his true value might be 25 or 30 on a team where you have Barkley, just the way those projections dynamically change. So I'll love to mess around with that and then see how can I apply those projection shifts to the daily drafts as well.
Yeah, that's a great take on the Underdog drafts. What is it called? The ones that you do where
the battle royales.
Yeah, battle royales. Which I love the battle royales and just never have time for them. But that component of like, okay, I'm taking this player, therefore I am saying in the sample size of 1, this player has a week winning game. Therefore, what does that mean for the rest of this game? And you can kind of run that through and have a deeper understanding of what bet you're actually making and how to take the best mathematical advantage of that bet.
Awesome. Well, JM, this was a blast. The chat loved it. I loved it. And I'm genuinely, unless you're just paying lip service, I'm going to hit you up. We'll find another time.
Hit me up. I'm working on basically finalizing cascading projections, dropping some early journal entries and X posts, continuing my research. But I've done all the research I can do really. So I've got some space and would love to hop on again.
All right. I will hit you up. We'll figure that out. And then regardless, 2 weeks from Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Thanks to everybody hanging out in the chat. Just my rest of week stuff real quick here on the way out. Tomorrow, we're going to have the randomizer with Rome. That's going to be a blast. We'll do a couple of Best Ball Bash drafts. So those of you guys who are new YouTube members, hop in the chat, use the hashtag. If your name comes up, you come on and you can draft Best Ball Mania 131 and 132 with me. And then Friday night, another one of my favorites I just booked for After Dark, RotoViz's Sean Siegel's. RotoViz's Sean Siegel will join me. We'll chop it up, do a draft. Always a good time checking in with Sean. Appreciate you all. We will see you guys next time on Best Ball Breakfast. Peace.